Ready to go. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming on out. Apologize for the slight delay. Also gave time for the people that's coming in late to come in. All right. How many people don't know why you're here? Raise your hand. You don't know why you're here. Okay. How many people? Somebody invited you to come out here. Okay. How many people came for free food? All right. See, we got an honest crowd. Honest crowd. I can deal with that. Matter of fact, I can't even see nobody's face. I gotta keep this light on. I can't see nobody. I don't even think that's working. Let me see. Can you turn that light on? Let me see. Can y'all still see the screen? A little bit. Oh, there you go. Okay. It's the mood lighting right there. There's a little clear on the screen. Anybody can see the screen right here? Can you see the screen and everything on it? I believe y'all. All right, let me know if you can see me in that screen right there. Can you see me? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's get started. So, how many of y'all seen the flyer? Like, what did you see to come out here? Where did you see it at or whatever? Why are you even here? Somebody tell me where you seen this event at, somewhere online? YouTube. Most people? So who did you do? Raise your hand. Okay. Anybody see it on Instagram? Facebook, Instagram. Okay. Anything else? Anybody from TikTok? No TikTok. Okay. I don't like this mic. Can y'all hear me speaking like this?
Yeah.
This mic is not.
You got the other one right here.
Yeah, it's gonna cut in and out. It's okay. All right, I'll talk loud so you can hear me, and I'll make sure I talk loud so you can hear me. So I don't really like mics. It's cool. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to share with you a quick presentation, but in the process of sharing the presentation with y'all, you can ask questions. I'll be a little interactive in this particular chapter launch. Typically, you don't ask questions until later on, but I want to make sure you're engaged for a certain amount of time. We're going to break after maybe about 45 minutes or so. There's some food and snacks and stuff in the back, so feel free, take free to get some out for y'all. But before we do that, I want to start off with asking y'all a question. Why did you get that cup with pistachios and almonds? What is that about? Out of all the things we could have gave y'all when you walked in, why'd y'all get that?
Nutrition.
Nutrition. Here's my phone. Anybody see it up there? I'm gonna be able to read something. Somebody get anybody got the scripture on them? Like open up the Bible?
Sure.
All right, let's go to Genesis 43. Where is where's my phone?
43 and what?
Let's start at check 11. Let me see. Oh, I got it. So let me pull it up because I already had it. So if you don't know why we gave that to you, I want you to learn why we gave that to you. So go to Genesis chapter 43. Let's start at verse 1 and 2.
You want to read it?
Yeah, you can read it. Hey, you want to use the mic? Can somebody pass that mic to him? You sure?
You don't need a mic.
Project your voice, brother.
Yeah.
Read.
That's
it. You got it. Go ahead.
And the famine was sore in the land. It came to pass when they had eaten up the corn which they had brought out of Egypt, the father said unto them, Go again, buy us a little food.
Here you go.
And Judah spake unto him, saying, The man did solemnly protest unto us, saying, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy the food. But if thou wilt not send, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, Ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. And Israel said, Wherefore dealt ye so ill with me, as to tell the man whether ye had yet a brother? And they said, The man asked us straightly of our state and of our kindred, saying, Is your father yet alive? Have ye another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, Bring your brother down? And Judah said to Israel his father, Send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little ones. And I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him. If I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever. For except we had lingered, surely now we had returned the second time.
All right, so this is the proposition from Judah, verse 11. This is the important part. Read that.
And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds.
Keep going, verse 12.
And take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand. Peradventure, it was an oversight.
All right, so we're gonna stop right there. So the main key here that we parse out and we single in, we zoom in on is hospitality. They're going to entreat a dignitary for safe passage into the land of Egypt from out of the region in which they were in because they were experiencing a famine. So what the father said to Judah was, hey, take some choice fruits of the land, some items that you're going to take, because if we're going to entreat this dignitary, which is Joseph, the vizier, his son, he didn't even realize his son, this is the way to win favor with that dignitary. So he told him to bring what? He said, bring choice fruits in your bag, carry a present down to the man, a little balm, a little honey, gum, myrrh, pistachio nuts, you'll see in some translations, and almonds. So when you guys come in here, we entreat y'all with hospitality by providing you with pistachios and almonds, because I can't afford the rest of those items. If so, you get a little bit of myrrh, a little bit of gum, honey, and all that fun stuff. But the cheapest and quickest and most accessible item that I can get instead of having to travel to Israel is what you're eating right now in those cups. Why is this important? This is a customary practice that when somebody is in your presence and there is peace, shalom with you and them, you give them a gift. Imagine that. Every time you go to somebody's house, friend, family member, they give you something that you didn't even expect just for your presence to be amongst them. How would that make you feel? Welcome, honored.
Right. Welcome.
So if these are simple things that we can do to one another, and we can start instilling these things from our ancestral background, then we can restore a lot of favor and a lot of peace that we can have with one another. That's how you begin unity.
Right.
With a simple task like that. Now, granted, you don't give the person anything they're expecting it, that means something's wrong. Because if some of y'all Messianic believers in here, when Yeshua told the 12 to go out, he said to bring the gospel to the places they went, and if there was peace that would receive them, then they can lodge and stay there. If there was no peace, shake the dust off your feet and do what? Keep it pushing. But if you stay there, hospitality dictates that they take care of all your needs. In Genesis chapter 18, when Abraham saw the three strangers passing by, he ran up to them and told them to come stay with me. Why? Because in ancient times, whenever you see a stranger walking, they didn't have cars, they didn't have bikes, motorcycles, they didn't have airplanes. Most people walk, unless you were lucky enough to get a donkey. Most common people couldn't afford a horse, but if you had a horse, that's great. But most people walked. And because when you walk, think about walking miles and miles and miles and miles, no bus, no car, your feet are going to be tired and exhausted, your sandals are going to be worn out, right? So typically the customary thing to do is when you see these strangers, you open up the gates or your tent and you bring them in for refreshment, right? You wash their feet, you replace their sandals or fix and repair their sandals, right? You give them food to eat, you allow them to stay and to sleep, and they go back on their merry way. But the issue is in Genesis 19 with Lot, when the strangers came to the city gate, only Lot was there. Nobody else was there to meet them at the gate. When you go to Ezekiel chapter 16, you'll see the reason why Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed was because of inhospitality. Because when inhospitality starts, it is the gateway of the entry drug to doing everything else wrong. So them asking for the men was an inhospitable thing because they made a demand. Whoever's in your house, bring them out, and we're going to do this with them. That city was degenerate because of inhospitality. To prevent us from being the same and going down the same path, we have to first start with small things like a gift. When you come into my presence, I'm going to serve you and provide you with something. You didn't even know you was getting it. All right, no problem. Thank you. One person say thank you. Welcome, brother. I'm glad you appreciate that. That one person I appreciated that. That's like the lepers, right? You got 10 lepers, and one of them come back, say, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate that." The rest of them say, "Yo, you're gonna take this and leave out," right? And I see those are the hands of those who came in for the food, so it's all good. All right, so let's start off the presentation, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to touch on because I want you to understand why we're doing this and why we want this to be contagious, why we want this to be viral. Try doing that going forward and see how much peace you will have with those who come into your home. Even if you have an art with each other, the fact that they got something free food, free gift at the door, it don't even just have to be these items that you see here. It can be anything that you designate as a gift to give to those who come into your home. Because the idea is once they catch on and you go to their house, it will be reciprocated. And the moment that no gift is given, then you know there's an issue there that needs to be squashed. Got it? Yes? Yes. Icon, pain. Okay. Let's show me on the same thing. All right, cool. All right. So let's move on. I'm going to move on to our first slide. This thing wants to obey and listen to me. Oh, let me click on this one. There we go. All right. Does everybody have this? No. Okay. So this is the One Church app, right? So pretty much this app is the gateway to our app. So our app is a microsite that runs through this app. So what you do if you have an Apple phone or Android phone, you're going to type in My One Church app. My One Church app. I want to get this done real quick before we move forward with it. Everybody has this app because you can sign up for membership on this app, join groups that we have on this app, check out events that's going on, follow us on all social media platforms. We have a lesson section. You can click on that and watch lessons, and we even have an integrated Bible into the app. All right. So I want to make sure everybody has this app. If you have a cell phone, please take it out right now. Look this up in your Apple App Store, Google Play Store. If you need assistance, let me know. Once you download it, launch it, open it up, and it's going to ask you to enter a zip code. All right. Let me know when you get there. Got it? All right. Zip code, enter 30061. Got it? All right, and then you're gonna look down, you'll see Kingdom Harbinger Ministries, select that option, and that's gonna bring you right to this landing page, this home screen. All right, cool. So one person got it, everybody else got it? Show up your phone once you have it. Cool. Oh, you good, You'll wait too, right? Oh, you have it? Yeah, okay, cool. You good? It's okay. All right, cool. All right, on this side, right now, you got it?
No, it's still down.
It's still down? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so we move forward. So everybody did check in as well, right? So my executive assistant in the back, Gail, and then Jasmine's my other assistant right there, sitting in the back seat, right, waving her hand. So Gail went around with the little QR code for you to scan it, and then that'll bring you to the sign-up sheet. So this way, we can have your information, keep you in touch with the things that we're doing in the city of Houston. When we're doing things in the city of Houston, you get correspondence for us, you can communicate back with us, etc. That's why y'all need the app, okay? All right, cool. All right, so move forward. All right, let's do an icebreaker. I had a couple other questions down there, but I'm gonna try to run through this quick, right? I'm gonna go around the room, right? So I may know some of your names, but everybody else may not know who you are. So I want everybody to introduce themselves real quick so we don't know who each other is. Again, this is a fellowship as well, so we'll be finished with this portion. And I think everybody should know who is around them. And we want to know where you're from. And then I have another question I'm gonna ask you once we get to that. So we're gonna start first over here. You can stand up if you want. You don't have to, but it's totally up to you.
Shalom, my name is Jay. I go by Yahoo. I'm from California, Bay Area. I moved out here to Houston in 2020.
All right. And what character in the Bible do you most identify with? You know he's getting off now.
Let's say Caleb.
Oh, okay. Tell us why.
Caleb, when I think of Caleb, I think of someone who is courageous and willing to, give it all, do it all for the Most High, has faith that the Most High will protect and provide and be there for them. So Caleb is someone I resonate with.
Okay. All right, cool, awesome.
Shalom. I'm Rachel. I am from California as well. Currently living in Kenner, Louisiana, but will soon be a resident of Houston.
Okay. And same question to you.
Mary Magdalene.
Oh, okay. Break it down.
For her devotion following Yahushua Mashiach.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. And you see how simple and to the point they did? I just want that to replicate it. That's okay with y'all. We can do service afterwards. Give you a life story. All right. All right. You, sir? You don't mind?
My name is Brian. Hebrew name is Jair. I'm from Mississippi. And the character that I most agree. You haven't even thought about that.
No, it stumps a lot of people.
I would say maybe Paul, just not as zealous. You know, I didn't need to be kicked off my mute or to get in this way.
Yeah.
So, but pretty close.
Yeah.
So I'll say Paul.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. These two young men, they okay with speaking?
Well. This is Ryan Jr., BJ, Paul Maruk, and
Maruk. Awesome.
Stand up.
My name is Benjamin, and my Hebrew name is Benjamin. I'm from Thailand, and I moved down here for Spring, Texas. I haven't thought about it.
Okay, we can always come back around to it. Cool. All right, you next? Yes.
All right, my name is Anthony and I'm from Houston. The one character that I do resonate with is David and Goliath, just because we all got a lot to overcome and I've had a lot as well. So that's good.
You're Giants fan. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see. Along the lines. Right. Yes. You're next.
My name is Linda Riggs. I'm from Louisiana. I'm not sure where really. Come back to me.
Okay, no problem. All right, you next.
Good evening, Shalom. My name is Miracle. I'm originally from Houston. I have family in Nigeria. I believe I resonate with Daniel and Joseph. Because they went through a lot of trials and tribulations. So I think Joseph, he had family problems. So
Yeah, a lot of family problems. That's right. All right, you up? You don't mind? Yep.
My name is Mike. Originally from Houston. I'm a wannabe, so I aspire to be like the prophet.
Awesome. That's a whole range. That's a lot. That's good. I like that. All right. You, man, next.
Jenna Giuliani, I'm from McAllen, Texas. I moved to Houston 3 years ago, and my Bible character is Elijah.
Oh, okay. So I'm talking about. All right. We'll start right there with you. Yep.
My name is Emmanuel. I have to say, probably David, late, having to recover from all the everything that goes with that. I can relate to it.
Awesome. Okay.
Aki Shalom, from Louisiana originally. I want to say, even though my name is Shalom after Solomon, I think it more resonates more towards John. I yield.
Okay. Awesome. All right, you.
Eric Johnson, born and raised in Texas, the great country of Texas. The person that I resonate with is Nehemiah for his forethought and his care for his people.
Awesome. Hands down. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right.
Jasmine, I'm from San Francisco, California, and I do plan on moving to Houston, so that's why I want to be here tonight. And I guess I would have to say Sarai and Queen Esther. I believe we are royal. I'm trying to make change for our people like she did. And as far as Sarai, I've been a mother community.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, you know, my Hebrew name is Sahaba, and I relate to inspire even Anna, the prophetess, and Daniel because they love you.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome. You, sir? Where you from?
I'm from a lot of places, but I call Houston home turf.
Awesome. Right? And what Bible character do you think you identify with or
I like to say I walk in the spirit of alignment, but that's probably who I would most closely associate myself.
Awesome. All right, see, that didn't hurt, right? You hadn't said nothing embarrassing about yourself or nothing like that. But to make sure I take this service. All right, cool. All right, so we passed the icebreaker. Everybody know who everybody is. And again, you can fellowship afterwards as well. It's like to do that to kind of, let everybody relax, let your hair down and so forth. All right? All right, cool. Oh, look, what in the world is this?
Good answer.
I did this because this is going to evoke an emotional response from everybody in here. Because we've been bombarded every day with this stuff on TV. So I'm going to ask a question. You ain't got to give me too many details. Who's winning?
Both sides.
Both sides. Who's winning? Is he going to win? This guy? Is she going to win? This guy? There's a little bit of information on them. You already know. So just so you know, right? I'm gonna give you a little nugget here. So there's a website called Ballotpedia. Anybody heard of that before? Raise your hand. Okay. So what Ballotpedia does is that it tells you about all the candidates that's running for every office from the federal to state and the local level, and it tells you all their policies. It tells you every ballot initiative that's going to be on the ballot that you vote for alongside the presidential or political candidates, and it lets you know the history of all these people that's running, who they're affiliated with it. Did you know that Cornel West is running for president?
I know it.
Why y'all not gonna vote for a black woman? This is a 1/4, 1/8, whatever black woman, but there's actually a black man that's running. And of course, nobody knows that. Why? Because they don't have the campaign monies to get on TV or social media. But he's actually running for president, one of 24 presidential candidates. Did y'all know that? Nope. Anyway, so with that being said, there's a little bit of information on these in case somebody's living on the rock, don't know who these people are, a little bit of information here. But let's move forward. I want to move forward. All right. Is this what we should primarily be focused on? Because at this point, it just seems like an entire, what we call a peanut gallery. Now they're bringing celebrities out to get you to vote. Beyonce was just on with the Democratic Party. Beyonce and Kelly Rowland. Okay. I don't care about who they are. They're not running for president, right? But on the Republican side, they brought out, what's her name that they brought out? What's this lady's name, man? The one who cut her hair low, she had a tattoo on her forehead. Amber Rose. I don't care. Who cares about that? That shit. If that influences who you vote for, then I can sell you wet water. I can sell you wet water for $1,000 if that influences who you vote for. You know why? Because they are looking at you as being dumb, stupid, and uninformed. If your favorite celebrity says do this, you're going to do that. That lets you know that these are puppets that's being used to bring the masses into the agenda that they want them to. Don't get caught up in it. If you want to be really informed, go to ballotpedia.com if you're voting and see everything that you're voting for and why. Okay? Got it? But particularly here in Houston, since we're in Houston, these 3 things are going to be on your ballot if you're in Harris County. Did you know this is going to be on your ballot? Hey, tell me what you're voting for. On the Houston ISD and Proposition A and B, are you going to say yes or no? Did you know about that? You're probably going to skip that. So you go in the voting booth, you see that, I don't know what this is, click. You don't even know what it's for. So we're all so worried about the presidential election, you don't even know what's going on in your backyard. So this one deals with the schoolhouse bonds measure and money allocation to that. B deals with technology bonds measure, authorizing the issuance of $440 million in bonds for technology equipment, systems, infrastructure, and instructional technology. This is a property tax increase. So when you see your property tax increasing, oh, wow, property tax increasing. Well, somebody voted on it. Y'all didn't see that when y'all went to the polls? This one over here for the schoolhouse bonds measure, authorizing issuance of $3.96 billion in bonds for new school buildings, renovation, expansion of existing buildings, safety and security infrastructure along with the necessary site purchases. This is a property tax increase. How come nobody in here was at the town hall meetings when they was putting this stuff up? Where y'all at? But you know they have internet now, so you can get involved with the internet too. Lunch break. A lot of these on weekends. Now let's go to Harris County Flood Control District, Proposition A, ad valorem, tax rate measure, approving an ad valorem tax rate of 0.04897 per $100 valuation, which is 0.01581 higher than the previous rate to fund the operation and maintenance of flood risk reduction infrastructure. This is where your tax monies are going to. So if y'all don't vote in here, somebody's voting for this. If y'all involved in the think tank session to create these ballot initiatives, somebody is in your community. So when things start to go to hell, it's because you're not getting involved and you're uninformed. How many of y'all read the 2024 annual action plan from the city of Houston? No? How many of y'all live in Houston? Raise your hand. Or the surrounding counties? Because this has been supplied to Houston. It's applied to everywhere in the entire country. I'm just using Houston because we're in Houston right now. Every city has an action plan for the various governmental departments. That action plan is going to lay out what they intend to do and where the money's coming from and what parties are involved and how long is going to be the timeline. They let you know how it's going to be sustainable over time. They let you know what the scope is. Everything's laid out in here. Y'all ain't read this yet? See, this is why y'all don't know about gentrification. Everything's in here. They let you know years in advance that they're about to gentrify your neighborhood and kick grandma out. A house worth $1 million, she don't even know. They gave her $10,000 to move and she moved. Grandma's gone. Do the same thing with the rest of the block. Move all y'all out, set up shop because y'all ain't read it. Y'all didn't even know this was happening. They're not paying attention. People voting for stuff, increasing the property taxes that then grandma can't afford. Don't even know why it's going up because y'all ain't getting involved. You're gonna say, well, I don't care about none of that. I'm an Israelite. Okay, we're gonna get into that. Just hold it. I just want to show you this stuff to see what's going on. All right, so let's move forward. Houston's historic Black neighborhoods see significant demographic shifts as they confront gentrification. The Kinder Institute's Retaking Stock report showed how gentrifying communities in Harris County and Houston have evolved over the past 20 years. Gentrification has impacted many communities across the county, and some of the impacts are seen in changes in demographic characteristics and housing development patterns. Of the neighborhoods that are identified as experiencing gentrification, 4 are historically Black communities. The 5th Ward, the 3rd Ward, located inside I-610, and Independence Heights and Sunnyside, which fall between I-610 and Beltway 8. How many of y'all know where these areas are? Did y'all know they identify these areas? Oh, you do?
I live right there close to in the 3rd Ward where they building right there on the side of Houston, but another infrastructure on the highway.
Are you getting involved in that process?
I mean, I noticed it, but I mean, as far as hands on, gonna happen.
Yeah, and you see, that's the answer for most of us. Because we don't know how. What are we supposed to do? Most people don't get involved because they don't know what to do. They think it's a complicated process. There's a bunch of layers of complicated technical jargon and stuff. And I have to meet this person, I have to go here. It's actually very simple. Everything starts at the town hall meeting. How many of y'all been to a town hall meeting? Raise your hand. At the town hall meeting, a lot of things come up. You can speak about these things. And if you have a politician you don't like, y'all can get a petition and get on that. Y'all know that? So if somebody's supporting gentrification of Grandma's neighborhood, y'all can go to the town hall meeting and say, hey, if you don't do something about it, we're going to withhold X amount of votes from you. I guarantee them get on top of it. Voting strategies work. Political strategies from the grassroots work. We just don't know how to implement it because most of us are just on Instagram and Facebook every day, watching videos, going about our life, and just letting the world just evolve around us and not even be aware of what's going on. And if we can even do something about it. Okay. Public safety and criminal justice in Houston. Public safety is foundational to building a healthy environment that allows a community to thrive. Gun death rates in Houston region are at their highest level in 2 decades. While traffic-related deaths have fallen, the number of reported hate crimes in the region increased. Did y'all know that? Hate crime has increased while reported human trafficking cases have declined. Yes, that's good, but the fact that it's happening, do y'all know it's happening around you? A lot of kids going missing, especially from halfway housing, especially in Houston. This website right here gives you those numbers, and when you look at it, it says it decreased, but it's a marginal percentage. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of kids going missing. And then the only way they find them is because a sting and operation happens, and they wind up finding the perpetrator, and then they find the kids. But other kids go missing that those kids say that they passed through or they knew. We don't even know how much the number is. These are crimes that's happening in our neighborhoods. Our own kids are being hijacked and taken. This is not something that happened in the third world country. Gun deaths. If you go look at the percentage in the populace, it's in the Black community. Black and brown community got the highest rates in regards to gun deaths. And while adult incarceration rates have not fallen, the rate at which juveniles are referred to probation has dropped significantly. I guess that's good. Okay, so that's bad because now they're not even getting probation anymore. They're keeping them in prison. All these things are happening in your community. A lot of times when I go over this and I explain all the things that's happening in people's reality, a lot of times people do one of 3 things. They do one is that they ignore it and think the problem's gonna go away. It's called wishful thinking. Ideation. And think, oh, if I ignore it to go away, maybe I could pray it away. Some people think they can pray it away. That's the funny thing. People think, oh, I can just pray it away and it'll go away. I pray to God, God, please remove this from my house. Please remove this from my backyard. Please remove this from my community. And the next day it's still there. So praying it away is not going to get rid of this. This is here by design. Doesn't mean you can't do nothing about it, but it's here by design. The second thing people do is say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get active, whatever. You know, that little seed that gets buried and sprouts up and then it gets eaten away. Then after something happens, they just forget all about it. And then the next year, they got to pay more on their property taxes. You know, some of your taxes go into incarceration as well, right? Correct. So you're funding the incarceration of your own people. Okay. Taking away their right to vote, the right to bear arms, the right to get involved in the political process, the right to even get a job. You're just fighting. Some of you have been through the system yourselves. I've been arrested before as a teen. Luckily, I wasn't processed, anything like that. I was arrested, I was detained, but I was arrested for being with the wrong group. You know what I'm saying? And now we have situations where little things like little infractions like that affect you from getting housing, from getting a job, from getting a line of credit to start a business. In Atlanta, my friend is not here. He moved to Houston, but he's not here. My friend Brian Gaither, I'm gonna give him a quick shout out. He invited me in Atlanta because he worked for the Solicitor General's office, so they prosecute misdemeanors. And that office, mind you, they work for the city, right? But that office decided that they were going to have an event where they was going to remove misdemeanors off of people's records. At that same event, they had a whole bunch of trades there: electricians, they had plumbers, they had construction, and other jobs there. Then at the same place on this side, they had all these lines of people that are showing them applications for housing. They go there, you get your record expunged or frozen, and then now you can get a job, now you get a place to live, and now you can start a career. And my friend Brian has the same mindset that we're discussing here today. So we have people like that in the community. A lot of times we don't even know this is what's going on. Why it's not publicized. If you rise up, then every other nation has to deal with their sins. But if they can keep you quiet, keep you distracted, they don't have to own up to anything. If you have all the power in the world, why would you want to be accountable? But if you give us too much power, we're going to make sure everybody's accountable. Because we don't have the strength in the flesh, we have the spirit behind us. That's the only thing you can use to fight against this opposition. So, anybody interested in this? I'll make sure you have the link. This is a very interesting article. This website is called Understanding Houston. And what they do is they look at everything that's happening in your city and they put it in a format like this that's easy to read, so you know what's going on. The good news is this is where we come in. So I'm not going to burden you with a problem without a solution. Because a lot of times I've gone to a bunch of rallies, a bunch of protests, like, wow, this is cool, wow, this is great. And then the cameras go off and everybody go home. I'm like, what's the photo? I had no clue. I was asking people, what's your next step? What is your goal, your purpose being here? Just to say, yeah, I went and I did something, and then that's it. Where's your think tanks at? Where's your solutions at? Where's your plan? Where's your organization? The amount of people that was there, I think I went to the last protest I went to one in Dallas, I went to one in Baltimore, I went to one in Atlanta, I went to one in New York, I went to one in St. Louis. I went everywhere where one of us got killed from police violence, where I was there. And then I asked people, man, so what we doing after this? Now we're gonna go back to the hood and do ABC. Oh, okay, cool. So what we did in Boston, 2015, with Freddie Gray, and that was his name, right? The brother got killed because of handcuffed, and they put him in the back of the, what was that, caravan they had, and they wound up driving without securing him, and he flying around in the back, he died. So out there in Baltimore, so there was a protest that they were having. They said a lot of police. It was in the community where a lot of us is at. And when I was driving past, I seen maybe 20 to 25 boarded up houses. And this happened, I seen this in Detroit when I was in Detroit. I seen this in Chicago, I was in Chicago. There's a whole bunch of boarded up houses. Nobody's there. Sometimes they turn into crack houses, trap houses, sometimes prostitution houses, or brothels they set up in your community. So then when I went there, we was talking about the plan and all of that. Before I went to that protest, I looked online to see how much these properties were worth. I printed it out, and I went right to the community. There was community leaders there, there was gang members there, and they had their leaders there. Everybody gets together and protest, right? To go back and do crime or whatever else, live their life. I went there and I said, hey, yo, some of the leaders. I was like, these boarded up houses, they're in state auctions right now. All you gotta just pay the property tax. You can buy your own community. All right. So I'm pay for it. See this 20, 30 houses? Y'all put all the food together, you can get this. Right? So that's what's going on. Some of the leaders from the gangs are like, yo, you can do a better hustle than selling drugs. You can flip these houses. I'll give you more money in return than you're going to do selling drugs. I was thinking about that. Right? Well, some of them were reformed, some of them trying to do, again, if you're a gang member and you here for this rally, I'm not judging you on what you did in the past. That's not going to get me to a solution. I'm going to give you seeds to think about and say, okay, look, this is what we're going to do. This is the game plan. So we laid out. They seen it. Came back a year and a half later, they bought up 15 of those homes, renovated it and everything. Gang leaders. Having the little boys that's typically on the block selling crack, now flipping houses. Because somebody came there with a game plan. I'm not saying I did a whole lot. I ain't say I changed the entire city of Baltimore. But I know for that block, 15 to 16 of those houses that they only had to buy the property taxes on to own those houses. Now they're flipping those houses for $500,000 because that community was in the process of being gentrified. I wonder if all that stuff I just showed you to those same people. Say, yo, you know that your block's about to be gentrified? They're about to kick all y'all out. Y'all fighting over territory. They're about to kick all y'all out. Set up a whole shopping plaza here and this right there. So you're fighting in vain. Why don't you buy a block? You got the money. So this is how you can do it. Went over again, had 15 houses they got, and from there they started buying other properties and flipping them cities. I met T.I. You know who T.I. is, right? That's what he does. Buys properties and flips them because somebody stopped to tell him, hey, why don't you invest in real estate? That's where the real hustle is at. He didn't pay no mind. Again, he was tracking and all of that. Then he thought about it and he wound up doing it. I met him, I was speaking with him. It was at an event that they had, was it 2020? I think right before COVID, and he was like, yeah, you know, I try to tell these young boys that they can go and they can flip property. And I said, yes, it's an alternative to provide them. So number one, remove yourself out of the recidivism rate. The recidivism rate is high because there's no purpose that's being provided to those young boys coming out of prison. So what are they gonna do? Go back to what is familiar with them. Nobody has said, hey, look, you know, I got a farm down the street. Come over here, you can work on this farm. We have housing, partners on the farm. You can live on the farm and work on the farm. We have a program like that in the land. You can come work to live until you get back on your feet, learn a trade. These are things that you can provide those in your community. So if you're upset about the gang violence, your community and all stuff, what are you doing to provide a solution as an alternative for that? If you're not doing that, then of course you can keep complaining. So our job is to show you how we can make a difference. I know it's not fancy or anything like that, but it's all good. So who are we? Name of our organization is Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. How many people know what Kingdom Harbinger Ministries is? You've seen this online or whatever this is here. Wow, only 3 people. 4 people. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. So the PR element is we are nonprofit, faith-based organization specializing in providing humanitarian programs and services to mitigate the societal ills in the Black community. That's the PR. When it asks about the organization, that's the PR statement we got right there. That's the official statement, the legal statement. But underneath all of that, we identify as Israelites, and our mission is to restore cultural autonomy through research, education, and application in the community. What does that mean? So the faith-based portion, the reason why we're labeled as a faith-based portion is how they categorize things in regards to nonprofit organizations. But in the underlying thing, we identify as Israelites. Now, if you don't know what that is, how many of you don't know what that is? Raise your hand. Everybody knows what it is. All right, cool. So I ain't got to explain that. And our mission is to restore cultural autonomy. What is a cultural autonomy? Give me an example of applied cultural autonomy. If not, I'm gonna give it to you. I just want to see if anybody knows what that means, a cultural autonomy. Can I get a water from back here? Appreciate it.
Chinatown?
Chinatown. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Right.
Chinatown. How is Chinatown an example of cultural autonomy? And what does that look like? How many have been to Chinatown? There's one out here in Houston, right?
Yeah. Even the street signs are like
Somebody said they want it. Explain that. What do you mean by that?
And they have control. They have control over that complete area. Even the signs are like in their language. They have the banks are in their language.
An ethnic group who's not even from here. We're not even from here, but that's another conversation, right? An ethnic group that's not even from here has set up shop in your city and taken over the block. Everything reflects their culture. Everything reflects their ethnicity. Everything reflects their homeland. They are all united by common culture. And out of that culture, you have a community that now says, wait, I want this place to look like what I like, what I'm familiar with. And they set up shop. They open up their businesses, their schools, everything. They got their own dentists, they own clinicians that work there, they own banks, grocery stores. So when you walk in there, if you get maybe about 5 miles in, you look back and like, oh, it's America. Like, where's my GPS? Let's see where I'm at.
Right.
You look down there, like, wait, everything looks like this place. Looks like their homeland. And if anybody has visited China before, I never gone. Look forward to going to Hong Kong soon. You go there and you come back here and say, yo, this looks exactly alike. You would never know you in America because they have cultural autonomy. Cultural autonomy. Now you show me one Black community that has cultural autonomy. Raise your hand. Tell me where it's at. I can visit it. Show me. Anybody.
Out in the middle of nowhere, they got their own land and everything.
But what about the city of Houston?
In the city,
Because Chinatown's not far from here. Oh, no. That's what I'm saying. The Jewish community. Anybody been in the Jewish community before? Raise your hand. You ever drove through there before? See, everything is in Hebrew. what's going on there? You driving in there, they got their own senior citizen center, they got their own doctors, everything in there that look just like what they're familiar with. So cultural autonomy is something that we do not have, but yet Israelites say they're a nation. How are you a nation and you don't even have your own cultural autonomy in any place of this world? How are you calling yourself a nation? Well, we're a nation within a nation. Yeah, but nations have certain things in place. If I get sick, show me the Israelite dentist I can go to. Raise your hand and tell me where they at. I can call them on the phone right now. Well, I mean, where they at? Where's the hospital? Israelite owned hospital. Raise your hand. Show me what hospital it is. I can go there and get some help. Where the school? At least a charter school, something. Raise your hand. Show me. Where's it at? Oh, y'all got it? And this is the problem. This is a significant problem. This is what starts to happen, and I learned this from being in New York. In New York, we have what's called a bodega. Y'all know what a bodega is? There's some out here too, right, Houston? Bodegas. But the concept of bodega is a corner store that's a convenience store that you can go get food and candy and little household items, right? Everybody that was running those was East Indian and Arabs. In the black community, in the hood. Why are they there? They're there because there's money there. You just don't know that. Right. I spoke to the guy that worked at one of the bodegas. I'm like, why you call this a bodega? You East Indian. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I had a conversation with him, and I said, yeah, what made you set up your business there? He said, oh, because I sent two of my kids to college by working. Sent kids to college by working in the hood? I said, yeah. What? I had to think about that. I said, oh, wait, this is crazy. What? Money is there. African Americans contribute almost $2 trillion to this industry, commercial industry. $2 trillion. $2 trillion. And where do you think it goes? Does it go to an institution that we need? No. You know, people say, oh, mental health matters. Where's the mental health hospital I can send my kids to? Some people got one set up, so I can send them. There was no reparations mentally. If you had chattel slavery going on for hundreds of years, by the time you get to an Emancipation Proclamation and people are free, that's it, I do air quotes a lot, they're free, what institute did we go to help us with our mental state? Because you're epigenetically affected by the things that happened to your ancestors. You know what epigenetics means? That means that your environment forms a character or nature that otherwise you would not have had if you wasn't in that environment. So certain innate characteristics, behaviors come out because of the environment and which one is that. There was a study they did in 2010 on animals that are in captivity. And certain behavioral traits from the children are turned off because they're in the zoo or in captivity. So what they did was they took two of them, put them in the wild, and they had to monitor them because now you're in the wild, you don't know the rules of the land. Now they gotta relearn that because you've been in captivity. Somebody's been feeding you, taking care of you. So now what happens is those children, they have children, their children also affected, but the third and fourth generation, I don't know if somebody's listening. The third and fourth generation, when they go back to visit them, and they're in a state where they're not captive anymore, those genes turn back. They have primal instincts that get activated when they're outside of captivity. Their true nature resurrects when they're outside of captivity. When you can make those dry bones live again, they're a new creation. And then now something brand new can occur that's really not new, but it's just something old that was turned off, but now it can be turned back. I don't know if you're listening. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of something. So with that being said, through research, education, and application in the community, we can restore cultural autonomy. And you're gonna say, well, why do I need it? I'm an Israelite. I don't need that. I'm going to my congregation, I'm going to my camp, I'm gonna go with my Mormon said, we're gonna pray this thing out, or we're gonna call for the destruction of Babylon. We want the Most High to rain brimstone and hell on Babylon, destroy this country, take us up out of here. That's the rhetoric. Sounds good. Sounds good. But if we start judging Babylon right now, and you have to go through it, what is your contingency? How many of y'all have water and food stored up for 1 year? Raise your hand. Only 2 people. I got some. How many people have a generator that you can use for a whole year if power goes out? Raise your hand. How many people have medical supplies, tourniquets, quick clots? Any event that something happens and you can't get medical emergency services, raise your hand. How many people own land and they're farming and gardening in their land? Raise your hand. Everybody's hand should be up for everything that I just said. Because you want Babylon to crumble, but just like the Israelites was in Egypt with Moses, they had to be there while everything was happening. And then when that last plague happened, that's when they got out. So when you asking the Most High, chanting for Babylon to be destroyed, just know once the mercantile services, the commercial service shut down, it's going to affect you. Because the difference is in Goshen, the scripture says in Exodus chapter 10 that they were not affected by the plagues. Where's your Goshen at? Show it. They cut off the water pipes. Where you gonna get water from? There are wheels. Where you gonna get food from? You know how to hunt? Raise your hand if you know how to hunt. How to set traps. Okay. Medical supplies. How many of y'all know how to do CPR? It's very simple. Raise your hand. How many of y'all know how to stop a traumatic wound that's bleeding out? Well, you went to Look, watch this. I'm gonna use that. But with those skills, that should be taught to everybody. In New York, we had a program, it got shut down, which was crazy. That started back in 2014. I started this program, prayed about it, started this program. What we did was, we wanted to know why there were so many homeless people on the east side of town. So we went, we interviewed maybe about 20 of them, whatever the case may be, and found out that 15 of them were veterans that was on the street corner. And then when we interviewed them some more, some of them was the military intelligence. So what the hell are you doing on the street corner? You got military intelligence and you're on the street corner. Why? Because they couldn't get their benefits. They was having a hard time getting their benefits. So we had a conversation with them. We said, look, this is what we're gonna do. Most of them look like us, right? This is what we're gonna do. We will help you with that if you be willing to speak to some youth. I said, all right, cool, you know, whatever. Got them cleaned up and everything, right? Got pictures and everything, right? The youth that we was targeting was youth that was on the precipice of going back to prison, juvenile detention. So what we did was we said, look, these youth need something to do. And the communities that removed the YMCAs. And the high schools that removed all the trade programs. They're taking everything out of that community. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They used to have PAL, PAL. I went to that when I was younger. That's not in the hood no more. They got rid of that. They have no activity. So you wonder why there's aggression against the police aggression against them, because you have nothing there to mediate. But this is how they want it. This is not by accident or coincidence. This is by design. So what we did was we took the elders who were veterans, the young kids, and put them in a program together. If the young kids stayed on there, then what we do is we would testify on their behalf. They come to the program to their probation officer to lessen their time. And for those who are older, the veterans, help them with their benefits, clean them up, and help them get housing where else that they need. The program lasted for 6 months. Out of that 6 months, we had 12 kids that changed their life from that. But what happened was some people in the community, in our Black community, started complaining about the program. How are you going to complain about this program? They started making up every excuse. Why? Because they were not involved. They was getting praise and everything, but they were not involved. You know why? Because they didn't want to get involved. We asked them to get involved, so this was becoming so successful that our own people toward that. Wow. Program doesn't exist anymore. I want to replicate it, but it's a lot of work. But just for those 12 kids that got redeemed, now they have businesses, they have nice houses, family, and all of that, because we had veterans teaching skills and use those skills to get trades. With those trades, they build their businesses. This is just something little that I looked at, so it was a problem, and said, oh, well, what can we do about it? And then with a couple of people, we think tank, we came together, we thought about it, and this is what we did to solve the problem. All right, so let me just read the last one. So Also, we are heralding the kingdom to come by preparing the lost sheep for the king's arrival. So summarize that real quick so we can rush through this and you have to eat. In this section right here where it says heralding the kingdom, a harbinger is one that goes before a king and goes before an army or a dignitary to a town in which they have to pass through, and they go to the people and they treat them with peace and say, look, we're coming through here, we want no drama, we just want peace, and we want to be able to prepare a space for the dignitary to lodge and for your dignitaries to greet our dignitary. So what does that mean? A lot of people want the Most High to return, but they don't have a place for him to return to. They're not even in a condition to meet the king because they don't have no etiquette. You want to sit at the banquet table, but you ain't got the etiquette. Let's get scripture for that real quick. Like it has this real quick. Somebody tell me what etiquette is.
Yeah, how to manage your home training.
That's a good way we say it. We say it in the community, home training, right? But what is etiquette? And why do you need that?
The manners and behaviors that you train depending on where you at.
Thank you. It's you being prepared. So if I'm gonna introduce you in here to, like, let's say that you have a business and you want an angel investor, and I say, yo, I'm about to go sit down with Elon Musk. He about to give up $50 million to whoever I bring in here. You know what I gotta do? I gotta train you how to sit before him. Know what to say, what not to say. What fork is what spoon is what. This is what they're gonna look for. And if you're not exhibiting this etiquette, they're gonna be like, they're not gonna trust you with whatever they want to give. Because you're not even in a passionate format to know how to carry yourself with these type of meetings. So how can I trust you with $50 million? So people want y'all to come back. Hey, but do you know the etiquette? If you know the etiquette, then why you want to rush to meet the king? Take some time and prepare yourself, right? Your household, your community. Y'all not ready. I keep thinking I'm ready, and I realize that a couple of months I ain't ready. It's an ongoing process. But let me read something to you real quick. Can somebody get for me Matthew chapter 22? Anybody?
Okay.
You got Matthew 22? All right. I want you to read verse. Do verse 1. Verse 1 to verse 13. And then we can pass this one. Read that real quick.
And Yeshua answered and spake unto them again by parable. He said, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding. And they would not come. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, oxen and my fattened the deal, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. They made light of it, and went their ways, one to his farm, other to his merchandise. And the remnant took his servants, and entreated them spitefully, and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, wroth, and he sent forth his armies to destroy those murderers, and burned up their slain. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways, and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he saith unto him, friend, how camest thou hither not having a wedding garment?
Yeah, what did it say? He didn't have what?
He didn't have a wedding garment.
He didn't have a wedding garment. Oh, shit. So what happened then? Read that.
And he was speechless.
Woo. Okay, what happened?
Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness.
But you're all ready to sit at that banquet table. That's what you're telling me. You see what's going to happen to you if you don't got the proper etiquette? Why you didn't have the right garments? And when he got asked, interrogated, he had nothing to say. That's not how it works when you come before a king. When you come before a king, you must always bring a gift. And if you're in his presence, you must dress accordingly. You must know the etiquette. Because the moment you lose that, how can he trust you to be in the kingdom? So Yeshua was teaching them in the flesh so they be prepared for when the time is there. So that's the thing that we don't have in our community, because rites of passage went out the door. How many of y'all did a rites of passage ceremony for your children in jail? You did one? Okay, that's one. Who else? But these communities in cultural autonomy, that's what they do. East Indian community, they got a rites of passage. Jewish community, they got a rites of passage. Chinese community, they got a rites of passage. I work with all these different ethnicities at work. All of them got rites of passage. You go to the black folk, I just gave them baseball cap and stats. How are you preparing your children for the future? How do you know that they're mentally sound, they're physically sound, they're spiritually sound, they're emotionally sound? How do you know that without the rites of passage ceremony? This is part of the cultural autonomy process. Because if the child cannot afford to pass that, they need some retraining. Let's do this last and I'm gonna break. The KHM logo representation, our colors are red, black, and green. So what does the red stand for? And it's crazy because it said RBG. And we got an RBG flag back here. We got some prominent individuals on the walls right here. And we got some Nick Club over here. What does that RBG stand for? So let's do it in regards to the UNIA and Marcus Garvey. What have they said that those colors stand for? That's Marcus Garvey right there. Anybody know what the red, black, and green stand for? Anybody know anything about Marcus Garvey? Right? No? Yeah, somebody's recollecting something. Say that again. I don't know who said that.
The red is the blood.
Red is the blood, and the blood represents who? Your ancestors, and the blood that was shed because of the ma'afa that they went through, or the diaspora from the transatlantic slave trade. They shedded blood because they was killed, beaten, raped, all types of things. You think about the worst thing you could do to a chattel slave is what was done to Black people's ancestors. That's the Bible. Black there represents the people themselves. One is the blood, and the blood also has to do with the progeny of who you come from, of your ancestry. Who begat you? Who gave birth to you? Who brought you forth? That's why you look in the scripture, there's thousands, and I say thousands for emphatic purposes, of genealogies. Genealogy is important. Where you come from is important. Don't let nobody tell you where you come from is not important. Because those people that get cultural autonomy, they know where they come from. Ain't nobody asked them where you come from, because they already know. But when I ask you where you come from, I don't know. What is black? What's black? What's that? Can I go back to a black somewhere? Hey, somebody show me the country called black. Where's that country at so I can go back? That's interesting. But are they going to take it? That's a good answer. I like that though. Did you hear what he said? I said, what name a country called black? He said, Niger, right? Technically, that means black, right? But can we go back there and say, oh, this is our land. I'm black. This is my land. This is what they call me over there. So I'm going to come back to my land. They're going to kick you right up back. The immigration is going to send you right up back. But black represents the people. So what I did was I looked at these principles from Marcus Garvey, UNIA, and I said, man, you know what? This really reflects us as Israel, because our progeny comes from the chosen people. Somebody read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Our progeny comes from those people of the book. That's where we come from. That's the descendancy. That's the blood. We're identified today by the bywords, black, as a people. That means y'all don't know who y'all are, where you come from. What the heck is black? Who wants to be called descriptive term? If I go to those Chinese people and say, y'all yellow, they will correct me and say, no, I'm from Mandarin, from this place right here. This is what we speak. This is our custom. They're going to tell me all of that. I go to black people, it stops right after, 1808, when slavery stopped. The only thing we know is all the way up to that point, and that's it. Because that's been passed down since we've been here. We don't know anything beyond that. Read that.
But thou art a holy people unto the Lord.
A set apart people,
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be
chosen you to be a special people,
to himself,
above
above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people. You say, oh yeah, so I'm better than everybody. That's not what that means. When you're above something, you can see down below. Eagle's eye means the eagle's all in the air. He can see everything that's transpiring on the ground. Then he's going towards attack. The reason why you're above is because you are the example. You're the exemplar of righteousness in the earth. You are the one that's holding the light and walking through darkness. You're the one that has a structure and a foundation from the very deity himself who claims that he's the creator of all things. And he has taken you, not because you're special, but because he made a promise to your forefathers, and he's looking towards you to be the benefactor of that promise. But you don't even got a place to go to. You don't got no resources. You ain't got nothing. You're just living like vagabonds. You know who else lived like a vagabond? Cain. But anyway, so look. So then we got green, right? So green represents what? The land that we was kicked out of because of our disobedience. All of these colors right here that we have in our logo represent something that how we identify today as Israelites. Or quote unquote black people. Because other black people who follow that RBG flag that Marcus Garvey and I created, they also stand by these same principles. The difference is we have Yah included with movement. He's not asking for it. All the other movements don't got him involved in it. But if we do it and we got him, that's double whammy. The symbols of the lions. Lions. What do lions represent? Robert Judah, somebody said what else?
Kingship.
Kingship, what else? Strength, what else? Leadership, what else? Fierceness. Because we ain't soft. I just want people to know that. We ain't no quiet, passive Christian. We speak loud. We proclaim what we need to proclaim, and we are a force to be reckoned with. Why? Because we have the Creator's promises in our veins. The man in the middle, some people didn't know. What is that? I don't know what that is. That is a man that has a covering over his head, and he's blowing a shofar. Why? Because remember, when we are kingdom harbinger, harbinger is also one who heralds the coming of the king. So they announce his arrival, they go prepare a place from the stay, and they prepare the people in that town, city, or country to receive the king. So we are here as a herald to the coming king and his kingdom. And right here that he has in his hand is the Torah, the book of instructions. Out of that structure that we have a foundation to stand on. Now we can follow the principles of Yeshua if the Messiah. And these circles represents, there's one circle here, two circles here, and a third circle right here, culture, community, and autonomy. When you have a common culture, you can build a common community, and out of that community, you can build autonomy, which means self-governance. That's how all those places exist, because they have self-governance. Because they have a common culture, a common community, and now out of that stems autonomy. We don't have a place we can point to that in the city of Houston. I don't know where that's, but like this, where's it at? Look on a map. Show me where black is at in the map. Can't find that. Okay, where's that at? All right, where's cultural autonomy on the map? Where's your institutions? Where they at? Can't point to anything. But what we're doing is we are bringing all of that here. Because we have a blueprint that's architects, what we need any years. I don't live in Houston. So there's only but so much that I can do while I'm here. All we can do is light your candle and then you go your path. We don't have the oil to even give you. That's the Most High shot. We're just giving you a game plan. And that game plan is going to change a lot of the things that you see in your immediate community without you having to worry about who's going to be the president in November 2nd. I know a lot of people be thinking about that every day, but yet don't even know who's the local politicians in your community. Who's your chief of police in your community? Name the chief of police in your community over there. Who's the chief of police? Who's on your county committee? Name the 4 people on the county committee. Name the school district. What's the school district number? Can you contact the school district right now? Do you know? Have you contacted and spoke to the school district? Anything that you see happen on in the classroom with your child? How many of your homeschool? Raise your hand. That's an option. How many people have their kids in charter schools? Raise your hand. That's an option. Did y'all know that that was an option? Did you know that you can create your own charter school? Your own charter school, and send your kids to that same school that you send them to? Then a whole video lesson on it. If you don't like the way school's going, you have a choice. And you can do it according to the foundation of your ethnicity, of your cultural background, of your identity. And then now there's an international program that allows us to get assistance in doing just that. I did a whole lecture on that with several other people in March of this year. How many of y'all seen that? Nobody's seen it? Nobody saw it? Yeah. So what we're doing is, again, we're going to do this when we have a little downtime. Right now it's 8:24, so we're going to break. And we can talk about it, and afterwards we can talk about it, but there's tons of things you can implement that will not contradict with the foundation on which you stand on. Everything we do, the principles come from out the scripture. Everything. We want to deal with credit, repair, debt, like a program called Jubilee Manumission. What's the Jubilee? That's a principle from scripture that we can take and look at, investigate, and then parse it out. Take what we need for 2024, turn it into a program to do everything the scripture stated and alleviate our people away from the credit and debt issues that they have today. We have a program called Natural Path to Eden. What's Eden? It's a garden where they had everything they need to take care of their bodily needs. Well, a natural path is what? What is a natural path? It is an alternative to what we call allopathic medicine, which is traditional medicine. When I say traditional, I mean Western medicine. I mean everything has to be solved with the pill or with the scalpel. Pill and scalpel is how they fix everything. But in regards to the opposite side, the body can heal itself if you give it what it needs. Why? We have that in Eden. The Most High prescribed the diet for us in Eden, and then throughout Scripture, other items mentioned in which one can take in order to alleviate all the ills that you have in your body. So that program we create to help people for free comes from out the Bible. Shua and Pour's birth stool, excuse me. Who was Shua and Pour in Scripture? In Exodus chapter 1. Who are they? Midwives. And why are they relevant? What did they do? There was a decree to go out to kill all the Hebrew boys. And what did they do? So our midwifery program, we're in the process of putting together, comes from out of the Bible. Everything we do can be found in Scripture. That's why everything we do is going to be successful. That's why everything we do is going to help build us so that we have a Goshen here until the time has come for us to be exited out. So if it comes from Scripture, like all these leaders here, they don't identify as Israelites. They all have the opportunity to get us to where we're at today. Where are we going to take it from here? Because now we got Yah. And I have heard none of them profess about Yah. But we do. And even Yeshua, not the Christian Jesus, not saying anything's wrong with that, that's your business, but we're doing something completely different from our cultural paradigm to establish autonomy so that our people can learn the kingdom etiquette and be prepared for when the king arrives. And in the process of Babylon falling, we have a contingency plan that we get cut off from the rest of civilization. King Khan, I'm gonna pause right here. So thank you for this first half. You can go and refresh yourselves, take a walk, get up, stretch, meet somebody new, say shalom to whoever, and we're gonna come back in about 15 minutes and wrap up.
Here we go.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, you look like you got a gift.
Yeah, I know the brother. Yeah.
I'm with Dirt of Nation.
Ah,
We started elders and those who are like every Shabbat morning, and we assemble online. It's more like those online. What you speak, it's just so. It's just so irrelevant. Things that you see that happen. I drive to us. I just recently almost a year ago, but we walking. catch the bus and the train, and I walk, I see homeless people, and I see them, and it's like, it does something to me, like, you know, you have all these buildings that these people have that's empty, but they rather leave them empty, you know what I'm saying? And for you to come, I was supposed to go to Louisiana yesterday, but I guess I'm thankful to the Most High that I didn't, because I get the opportunity to come here with your consent, because I don't want to just hear what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to allow my actions to walk. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, if we don't make, if we don't give an example, nobody else is like, exactly. I'm expecting, and I just want to, you see, you know, he'll be on you. Right when I came into Wake Street, about 2018.
Yeah.
So I've been following on, but just recently, once about a month or two, I really been shot down to follow you. I've been, you know, more high purpose.
Yeah.
But I just want to meet you. I appreciate you. Pleasure to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Follow you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, follow you and finally see the man first.
Well, my main thing is to bring everybody together. I go to different cities, some people are themselves, and they have nobody to come in. So another good thing here is that you come free to watch things. It prevents that opportunity to network and communicate on the city and build those bridges. You know what I'm saying? And the more stronger we are in turning as a unit, the more we can do together. You know what I mean? So that's why when people come here, they can be on campus corner or a congregation that assembles in the buildings. None of that matters when it comes to this, because we're doing the next step. How can we take those things we're learning and turn it into a solution that's going to fix the community? Because we all have issues in the community that we see day to day. We say it's because our people eat curses or don't. Yeah, but what are you doing now? Now that you bless, because you're keeping Torah. How is that permeating everywhere else? And I'm gonna get in there when I get into the next slide. I talk about Jeremiah chapter 29, and an example of us being in captivity. What was we doing while I was in captivity?
I've seen a little bit of that earlier today, but I couldn't get on it because we had our youth call.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it out. Give me my number. Yeah, we can schedule a Shabbat to one. Oh, yeah, let me give you my number. Yeah. 678 430 3832. Hold on. Create new contacts with my. Yep. Yeah, just let me know at least 2 weeks in advance.
Probably a little longer than that.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, at least 2 weeks in advance. It could be longer than that. Okay. And let me know, and I'll come do it. Anything that's gonna help what we doing here, I'm more for.
Okay. Well, praise.
No praises. Appreciate that, brother.
Whatever I can do, man. I just speak to you. Actually, keep loud.
If I was doing a lecture, this place would be packed. So we talking about solutions. We're gonna have that many people speak. Yeah, there you go, right? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So once we capture everybody's information, everybody has to and we set up our family meeting. Like we discuss those. Hey, do we have a farm in the community? We have land, we have this, we have that. And then from there, a project around it. So get people to get on that project, get them something to do, and more people have business, like Captain hiring, have foundations. Like, we said that. We get your information. We got your yeah, so in Houston chapter, should we have a correspondence communication, you know, everything that's happening, everybody that's involved, and what's going on. If you need mutual assistance with something, then set up a call with me. We need to give you a link so we can talk one-on-one and figure out what that is and see where that is going to come here. 678 430 3830. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me give this link. This typically everything is so we were
This is still up.
yeah, again, so we got it. That's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other guy. I'm sorry.
So you only live on basement? Yeah. Some of these places I'm angry. Long story short. Wait, everybody. That's the title, but there's a well trying to get a doctor. I feel like it's not. They took a bunch of movie scenes, real life. I don't care what it is together. It's not one interview. You can read it without the word. You can read it without saying different videos that try to bring those words to mind. I had to say this is down, but they, I saved a lot. Because I had my goal went to go back and try to send it to other people I'm doing to take it down.
I feel inspired. You had enough.
Kenny Town. Okay. Always. I ain't want you taking money.
I'm not playing that. I'll hear that.
Which one teach me?
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, everybody, about to get started again, so I can wrap this up. Feel free to sit down and eat as we finish the last portion of this. Sorry. If that makes it a little better. No, you can sis.
It depends on what's the
All
time.
right, somebody kill the lights. Oh,
Okay.
can somebody kill the lights? Thank you. Let me see something. All right, so I'm gonna finish the rest of this. Really not on you here, but it's okay. You're good. All right. All right, so now we get on this slide. It's going to transition us to the latter portion of this, which is the organization itself. And I'm not going to give you too much information about that like I normally do, but I'm going to refer you to some links where you can actually see the rest of that information in regards to how the organization operates. We have an onboarding session online that you can look through, and it walks you through each stage of the process with the organization about how we operate and run. So I may have to cut some of that because we're going to come up on time, but I'll at least get through this part. All right, so somebody read that on the left side. I know it's going up and down, but what does that say over there?
Israelites and post-exilic autonomy.
All right, what is post-exilic autonomy? What is that?
After being exiled.
Excellent. Sharp brothers in here. All right, so once they were exiled, the northern tribes, the southern tribes, what do you think they were doing when they was in exile? You think they were just sitting around, just praying and doing whatever? Or do you think that they had a purpose while they was in exile? What were they doing? Does anybody know about this information? Because we're saying it, it sounds good, but can we prove it? All right, somebody get Jeremiah chapter 29 for me. All right, you gotta speak this loud, brothers. You may have to stand up. All right, gonna make sure they catch you on the mic over here.
They're gonna catch me. What like that? Praise the Lord. Start at verse 1.
Yep, verse 1
to 14.
Yeah, 1 to 14.
It says, now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives, and to the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After that, Jeconiah, the king and the queen, the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, and the carpenters and the smiths were departed from Jerusalem by the hand of Elasah, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent unto Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon.
Who he has caused to be carried away. In Hebrew, there's a verb that's called the hethal stem, which is the causative stem. That means the agent does not directly do the action, but he causes the action to occur by means of circumstances or other agents, right? Which we know that they were carried away by the hands of the Assyrians for the northern tribes and the Babylonians for the southern tribes. Keep reading.
Verse 5. Build ye houses and dwell in them, plant gardens and eat the fruit of it.
Okay.
Take you wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may increase, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. And seek the peace of the city.
Seek the what?
The peace.
And do what?
The peace of the city.
Seek the peace of the city. Keep going.
Whether I have caused you to be carried
Where
away.
I caused you to be carried away captive. This is an exile. Okay. And what else?
And pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace.
So that word pray to the Lord thereof is the word interpose, which means to intervene, because in Genesis chapter 19, when Yahweh was talking to, or Yahweh was talking to Abraham, Abraham said, if there are 50 righteous, would you destroy the city? If there's 40 righteous, will you destroy the city? If there's one righteous, will you destroy the city? He's withholding his judgment until the righteous are out of Dodge. But while they're there, You are holding his wrath up. You're holding his wrath up. Every time you pray for your city, you get involved, you keep these statutes, laws, and commandments, you following the path of Messiah. When you do all these things, you are holding his wrath up. But there's only so much you can do before he says move out the way. So our job is to seek the peace. This is an example of the Israelites going into Babylonian captivity. He said, the city in which I carried you off in, seek the peace of the city, interpose on behalf of Most High. So that means you're the Moses between your city and the Most High. That's you. And he says what? So once you interpose, he says, for in its peace, the city's peace, you shall have peace. You ain't got peace in your city because you're not seeking the peace of the city. You want the city to be burnt down, destroyed. You're not seeking the peace of the city. You're not intervening on the city's behalf before Yah. If the ancestors were told to do this for 70 years, 70 years they were told to do this before they got out. We don't know what that timeline is like for us, but this is what they was instructed to do. So then what happened as a result of that? So I'm giving you, how many heard of the Al-Yahudi tablets? Raise your hand. Tell me what that is right here. This is one of them right here. What's that? Somebody tell me what the L-15 Papyrus is. This is it right here. Fragment. What's that? Anybody know what these are? What does this look like right here? Tell me what this tablet looks like.
Cuneiform.
And this right here, what does that look like? There you go. Papyrus. Papyrus is the material that this is written on. And this right here is written in Aramaic. Right? So when the northern tribe got dispersed, they got sent out to where? What did 2 Kings chapter 17 say happened to the northern tribe? What happened to the northern tribe? Somebody raise your hand.
Okay.
Wait, carried away where? Syrians carried them away where?
To Syria.
No, to Babylon. And took the people from Babylon and moved them into their homes. And what happened was they didn't just stop there and just the east, but some of them made their way west. And some of them made their way to Egypt. And some of them were hired by the Assyrians and later on the Persians to settle in Elephantine Island, which is an island in the middle of a river. Any of you ever seen an island in the middle of a river before? We got one out there, Chattahoochee River in Atlanta. It's a whole island, and the water is coming around it in the river. You literally can be in an island and still be in Atlanta. That's crazy. So that's what Elephantine Island is. It's an island in the middle of the Nile River. So on that island, you had northern tribesmen, you had Syrians, and some Babylonians that were all paid to be, they were all paid to be mercenaries. Mercenaries because for the Persians, because the Persians did not have a standing army. The Egyptians didn't have a standing army. When it means you don't have a standing army, and if you got to go to battle, you ain't got these people waiting here to fight. You got to go find people. You got to go do a draft. So when you don't have a standing army, what they do is they say, okay, look, you can live your life day to day, but if we need you to fight, we're going to send a courier to you to bring a letter. You report here, and we go to battle. In the interim, I'm going to give you land. In the interim, I'm going to give you religious freedom. They had a temple to the Most High there on Elephantine Island. Then they had, in this catalog or archive of letters, you had marriage covenants, land grant discussions, divorces. They were living their lives. They had land grants because it was building houses. Land grants because it was building vineyards. They had their own farmland and everything. They were engaging in the city politics. They took over that community, especially here in Babylonian captivity. They took over their community. These tablets document the day-to-day lives that they went into when Jeremiah sent this letter and they was going into captivity. This details what their life was like in there. A lot of people don't even know this exists. And then what happens is they got so prosperous that when Haggai and all the prophets was beckoning them to come back, they didn't want to come back and rebuild the city, temple, and walls. Why? Because they was having it good there. They took over their city. They was prosperous. They had a lot of wealth, a lot of land. The children were increasing, not decreasing. They was marrying amongst themselves. They was really comfortable to the point now then they started to marry outside. And this is why when they came back, Nehemiah said, yo, you got to separate that because they was getting too comfortable. They took the instructions and they did more than they was required to do. So because that point was happening, God said, okay, now it's time for you to come back and build the city, temple, and walls. And some of them brought the residue of those old lives with them, and they had to cut that off. But the key thing was they took Jeremiah's instructions and they built their community in captivity. People say, oh, we can't be prosperous in captivity. Well, why not? Our ancestors were. They were prosperous in captivity. They took over their city, they had cultural autonomy, they did all of that. The reason why you're doing that is because you want to create that notion that when it's time to leave, you have the resources to leave. When it was in Egypt, scripture said they spoiled the Egyptians. Egyptians gave them everything and said, get the hell up out of here. So they had the resources so they can survive that wilderness journey. So with us, we have to amass these resources within our community. So when Babylon starts getting judged, when I say Babylon, we're talking about the modern day Babylon, which is the Western systems and powers and so forth. When they start having trouble because God's judging them, we need to be out of the way. While everything's breaking down and going destroyed, be like, oh, we can smile. Okay, I'm cool. Yeah, I got everything over here. I'm ready. Whatever happens, we're prepared for it. We got a whole community of network, land, resources. We have everything we need. So let y'all judge. I'm chilling over here. We good. So when COVID hit, what do you think we was doing as an organization, KHM? We set up 8 chapters during COVID. And everybody was in their houses. We was in the streets, going to city, setting up these chapters. That was the prime time to get busy. The rest of the world was afraid to go out. They want to go nowhere. Everybody was scared, didn't know what was going on. We had purpose from on high to go and do action. The best time is when this election comes and all this anarchy is occurring. That's the best time for us to grow. The world's distracted. We can do what God's asking us to do while they're distracted. While Egypt was being plagued, the Israelites were preparing to get the hell up out of it. They wasn't worried about it. So the thing is, are we replicating that today? Now, if you want proof of this, you say, oh, I want to show me proof that this is happening. If you want proof of this, we have 2 resources. If you want it, let me know. I'll send it to you. The first one is called the Elephantine Pat Ryan English, 3 Millennia of Cross-Cultural Continuity and Change. And this is by Bezalel Fortin. Then we have this one here, Exile and Return, the Babylonian Context, by Jonathan Stokel. Now, what this shows is that when the Israelites go into captivity, because we have an archive of records from them, we can detail what they did day to day and up to the point where they returned back to the land. You can see the problems they were having. They were so prosperous they didn't want to leave. This details all of that. So even people who don't care nothing about the Bible have to acknowledge this historical. So we have proof of that. Same thing with the ancestors here in Elephantine Island. They were prosperous, building cities, marrying amongst each other, increasing and not decreasing, building vineyards, building houses. They were doing that. But we don't want to do any of that while we in captivity. We just let everything go and don't want to do anything. But now it's the time to do something. There's no excuse when we have the blueprint. The blueprint showed us what they were doing. We can replicate that blueprint. We take ancient blueprints and become modern engineers and build something from out of it. When you do that off the foundation that Yah has laid, everything will be blessed. Everything will be blessed. If you do it without that foundation, it's a hit or miss. Okay. The latter half of this, because I remember the first, just goes into the operation management of the organization. I could talk about some of that. What time are you on? 9 o'clock? Okay. Got about 30 minutes. All right, I could go over some of it. Let me switch over for this. There's another slide for this. And then after that, we should be done. Oh, you can ask questions too. On at least 15 minutes, so you can ask questions. All right, let me bring this up here. All right. Okay, this is the operations half. I didn't get a chance to really update this one, so I'm pulling it up on another PowerPoint that I have. But this right here is going to go into a little bit of how we operate. So what we laid first was the foundation, who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, the issues in the city of Houston that needs resolutions, and why are we doing that? Because we want to get cultural autonomy so that way we are prepared with the Goshen. So when y'all judges, he can take us out. And in the process of alleviating societal ills of other people in your community, who we call the lost sheep, it's a means of bringing them into the fold. Because right now in religion does active proselytization via evangelism. That method has been dead for a long time. What we're doing is everything that we're learning in our community as Israelites, we're creating something out of it, a program, a service, a good, a product. We're giving that to the community. The community has their issues resolved via that, and they come back and say, hey, what is this about? Why are you doing this? And they're inquiring. We're not forcing anything. We're just doing the work. Letting the light shine. That's what we're doing. So once they have an issue alleviated, because again, the world is secular. They want to look for transactional relationships. What can you do for me? What can you give to me? It's very selfish in nature. That's the flesh. But because we know that that's how the flesh operates, we give something to the flesh, and in the process, we plant that seed and then walk away. Because it's not our job to water or give increase, we just plant the seed. So when those people come back after they had their health issues resolved, their debt issues resolved, you provide them opportunity to get structured homeschooling, that's faith-based, all this stuff. Once you give all this stuff to them and they get in this stuff and it's fixing their problems, they're going to come back and say, okay, what can I do? How can we keep this thing going? So far by implementing all of this, we had at least 100 people come into the fold, at least, who otherwise would be out in the world doing something else because they're still looking for a solution to their problem. And now we have these things here in the community. So when somebody comes in the community, we have something to give them. We have something to offer them. I did a whole lecture in 2019 called Awaken Now What? People come into this community, you wake up on, it's like, oh, keep the sexual community. All right, cool. Now what's next? What do I do after that? What do I do after that? What is when I finish all of that, whether it's an online ministry or whether it's an in-person congregation or camp, now when I leave that, what's next? The community's still in shambles. There's still issues going around the neighborhood, still problems. What do I do next? Nobody has given them a Bible plan step by step and said, this is the scope. This is the scope right here. This right here is, looking at the target of issues and stuff we have. This is the information we're working with, the data bank from scripture. And then now what you want to do is, when you get to take this step and see this problem, you take this from your cultural paradigm, you apply it here, see how it works. If it fixes the problem, great. If it doesn't, go back to the drawing board, learn more about it, and fix that issue so it solves the problem. We have these things in place to fix these issues in the community. Everything's from scripture. So how we operate as an organization, we have monthly membership dues of $50. That small $50 membership due helps to provide services, programs. We have products, we have goods, and these sessions are free because of that. This pays for the food, pays for the venue, pays for everything. So we can have more of these meetings and so forth, right? You get a certificate, you get a shirt, all that stuff. I'm skip past all of that. We also have a thing called Fresh Skills Training, right? Would you want to speak on that for a few minutes, Gail?
Sure. Fresh Skills is simply personal and professional development training. And when you remember KHM, there's about 7 required courses. So like we were talking about earlier, mannerisms, etiquette, we learn all of that right there with Fresh Skills.
So when people come into the organization, we actually take what they say in masonry, right? You get a rough ashlar and you make it a smooth edge. So you come in rough with little to no skills and we skill you up. These skills have to do with what? This one, customer service, right? You learn. One for what was that? Business development. What's the other ones? Soft skills. So you know how to talk and deal and handle with people. Sometimes you can have knowledge and be like Paul, even though I'm rude in speech.
Right.
Not so much knowledge.
Right.
But Paul, how do you take that rudeness in speech and smooth it out? Right? What else? Goal planning. What else? I forgot all of it. But what I'm saying is, when you come into the organization, we give you these skills training for free. That skills training is not free. We pay for it. but it comes from the donation we get from the organization. With $50 per person, we're able to do a ton of things if you look at all the things we offer as a ministry. Whereas churches collect tithes and offerings. We don't even collect tithes and offerings. Now, what's your position on that is on you, but if we only taking $50, we can take take what they said, make a mole out of a mountain. What's that the phrase going? Mountain out of molehill, is that what it is? And we can create that. If you have more money than that, there's no excuse for you not to have institutions, programs, and services that's fixing issues in the community. We're doing it up to $50 per person a month. And y'all take it in, some organizations in hundreds of thousands of dollars per person. We're going to give you access to the software that I showed you earlier, because that allows you to create groups within the organization, stay in touch with the groups, they correspond to the groups, and figure out how to plan, design, organize, and execute whatever we develop from scriptural premises to solve an issue in the community. There's tons of examples I give on that, but I'm trying to cut that on time. We want everybody to get involved if you're part of the organization and provide an innovative idea to solve a unique problem in the community that we face. So we may seek the peace of it. You'll join a chapter, which we here for Houston, and a group. We have a gardening group. We have what else we have? We have a music group. We have a debt solutions group. We have I think we have over 50 something groups that we have that you can join with like-minded people to come together. We have a finance group. I talked to Javen about that. We have to bring that back up. And hey, can you raise your hand 1 second, Javen? That's the financial man right there. So there's a finance group. I mean, you don't have nobody joining the finance group, but if you're interested in learning about that so that you can take that skill and fix something in your community, we got a group for it. You're just waiting for people to join. I mean, you got to join the group, you know what I'm saying? But we have those things there, so there's no excuse. No excuse. And a system organizational services and program, like I mentioned, hey, we want you to develop a solution. If you have a business, we could pull the business on side, you could be a subsidiary, and through us, you can serve the community. If your business is something that caters to the outside community, that's fine. You can use that program or business you have, and you can use it through us as KHM and market it towards a different demographic without any liability falling on your own personal business or nonprofit, whatever the case may be. So there's ways you do that to shroud you from the liability. So if something goes awry, whatever, we take the blame for it, and you can still exit out with your organization. This is not a congregation. We're not actually be congregates. We're not actually believe all our tenets of faith and all of that. What we're doing is the next step. Taking what we learned and fixing the community so we can create this Goshen, because we ain't got a lot of time. I don't know if y'all see all the signs is about to go down. It's already happening. We do not have a lot of time. Time is like this. We don't have a lot of it. So we have to be building now, ASAP. All right? So that's that. That's the certificate. You get the t-shirt that you get in the pen. This is an example of one of our older fellowship meetings. So what we typically do, we'll take a theme and we'll create an event out of the theme. We know Black people love football. So it's all right, cool. Black people love football. Let's use that as bait and switch them to the Most High. Another conversation. Hey, look, what's going on in your community? Why they eat chicken and all of that, watching a football game? We take that and then we turn it to something else. We have people come off the street because it's about football and food, and they just walk right in and got hate the Most High. But walking out there saying, yeah, I'm Israelite, yeah, I'm keeping something, and then we're gonna fix the community on the next meeting. What can we do to fix the community? Right. Here's some roles that we have in the organization and the chapter. We need the director, administrators, event planners, public relations manager, all the skills that we give you, which is also continuing skills. We have 7 requirement skills, we said, and then access to a plethora of other skills that can train you to do any one of these roles for free. We're not charging you anything to get that skill. There's no excuse. Just saying. How we generate revenue through our merchandise. I put some of them there, mixtapes, t-shirts, calendars. We got a magazine. How many of y'all knew we got a magazine? Raise your hand. One person. Nobody knows we got a magazine. The purpose of the magazine is based on its reception in the community. We get enough funds behind it to get it in your Walmart and Publix. People walk in and say, what the heck is that? Take it off. You know, when people wait in the line, sometimes you be doing it. So look at this magazine and say, these things. These things. Common person, nothing about any of this, is being exposed to all of that. right there while they're waiting online to pay for their groceries. That's what we're trying to do with what we're doing. Exposure to the lost sheep. We preach it to the choir too much. There's a whole lost sheep out there that we have to pull in. So we're using our merchandise in order for us to get earned revenue for the organization. How we raise our money through products and services. Here's some of the services we have here. Also, we did a religious exemption letter. Any of y'all had one of those from us? Raise your hand. No? Okay, we've helped over 100 people keep their jobs in COVID. That otherwise would be out of work right now. Because during COVID, some people have the position that I'm not taking that vaccine for whatever reason, and they need somewhere to go to so they can get justification so they can keep their job. A lot of people lost their job during COVID. I lost my job during COVID. Anybody else lost their job during COVID? And any of those times any of those people say they lost their job, could a exemption letter have saved your job? Yes or no? Anybody that refused to get vaccination, that was the reason why? Well, we help people keep their jobs. And that's one of the goals of why we exist, to solve these problems. That was an issue that came up. Hey, there's people that don't want to take the vaccination. They have a job. The job is forcing them to do that. Where can they go to keep their job? They should not have to leave outside our community to get the solution. When those Jewish communities see them drive through, and one of those people have an issue, they got somewhere in the community to go to. If I need a job, I know where to go to. If I need food, I know where to go to. If I need an exemption for whatever reason, I know where to go to. And you ain't got to leave outside your community to do it. Little Chinatown, they ain't got to do the same thing. They got everything they need in the community. We're the only people that got to go outside our community and get something we need that our community can't provide for us. And everybody thinks, okay, that's cool. No, it's not cool. It's a problem. It's a big issue. All right? Here's some of our merchandise portfolio, but I'll discuss that with you afterwards. When we wrap up, these are the organizations I mentioned to you, Jubilee Mary Mission and Natural Eating. If somebody here wants, let's say, I don't know, if you're dealing with finance and you want to help people with credit relief or whatever, debt relief, credit repair, or you into health or whatever, we have these programs here that exist. So that way you can work with the programs and you can make some money as well. It's a little side hustle you can do on the side, doing what you're called to do, making some revenue. And on top of making that revenue, let's say that $50 that we say there, you want to be a member of KHM, you don't have the money to put out of pocket, join one of our programs, work with us in one of these programs, and you will get paid. And that money that you get paid from, you can then pay your membership. You ain't got to take nothing out your pocket. We create an option so that way money is not an issue. If you want to do it. You may not want to, but if you want to do it, money will not be an issue. Okay? These are contributions that we give, membership dues, YouTube revenue, PayPal, Cash App, donations, cash donations. These are the contributions. So the difference between earned revenue and contribution. What we're doing is we're showing you openly where we get our funding from. Until we get like an angel investor. Somebody say, oh, you want $2-3 million. We're not asking for that, but if we can get that, that's great. Because I know a lot of celebrities. I don't ask them for nothing. Why? Yaz is the biggest celebrity of all time. If I need something, I ask him. But I know these celebrities, and I mentor celebrities. I wish I could say their names, but I'm not going to say all their names. Some of them do share my stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. But the reason why I mention it is because these are people that's on the front line. I've had conversations with them. Some of them say, hey, yo, I want to, I'm an Israelite, and I know to keep these special commandments. They want to share all that information on their pages that do not do that. You should have a publicist or somebody that works with you to tell you that's not good publicity. Because every time you put that out there, we see what happens. And you're the one that's going to fund the revolution. Do not get tagged out too soon or prematurely. Stay where you at. Let us do that work. But the key thing is, they're going to be our Josephs. They're going to be our Ezras and Nehemiahs. They're going to be people, our Daniels, in prominent places that when it hit the fan and they see us getting persecuted, we can get the funding from it. Because some of y'all talk all of this stuff about people in high places, but don't know Israelites was in these high places too. And these Israelites in these high places prevented Israelites from being destroyed and wiped off the face of the map. That's the. I'm just saying. This is why you can't accost people in those positions that look like us. You may call them names. You may say that's Uncle Tom. You may say this. You may say that. You may say these things, but they're just ignorant of the truth. If you take time to work with them and let your life be the living epistle that they read, they may never pick up this book. You never know who you might change, and you never know who might be watching you. You never know who might need them in the future. This is a lot of verbose language, but pretty much I was going over the goals that we have with the organization and some of the benefits. I'm gonna spare you that because I'm gonna send you the links now that everybody signed up. I'm gonna make sure everybody has the links. If you want to read in more detail what that's about, I'm gonna send you the onboarding session so you can see what we look like as an organization step by step. Everything is transparent. When you do things in transparency, you don't have to worry about your organization getting destroyed. What happens is when you do things esoterically, now government, powers to be, whatever the conspiratorial term is, wants to now investigate and see what the hell are y'all doing. You can hide things in plain sight if you know how to do it. So people say, well, some conversations you shouldn't be having publicly. I agree with that, but you can have it publicly without anybody else knowing. This has been going on for centuries because it looks transparent. So what happens is you don't look like a threat. They don't know you're communicating. It looks like you're putting everything out there, wearing everything on your sleeve, but you're communicating in code with one another. This happens all the time in various institutions, military institutions, and jail. Everywhere this happens all the time. So there's ways that we can look transparent to avoid infiltration, to avoid oppression coming down on us until we get everything in place that we need when Yah's ready to judge, and then now we have everything we need to build on while we chant down Babylon. But you can't chant it down right now, right? Because y'all ain't got your Goshen. Goshen was the only thing, exactly. Goshen was the only thing to touch. Y'all ain't even got one Goshen somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm gonna scale back. We got about 15 minutes for Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. There's a mic. Matter of fact, we can get off the mic. I can pass around if need be. I don't know. It's gonna come from the back. Anybody have a question?
I'm just passing the mic.
Okay. Anybody question? No? Okay. Hey, nobody got questions. I did my job. I could go home. All praises. I'll see you on the next meeting and everything like that. And we're ready to line up. You said my past? That's a good question. All right. So, wait a minute. Who are you? You see that one? Me? Yeah. Okay. So that's a great question. In 2008, so I was raised a Christian. I think most people were raised a Christian. I was raised a Christian. I was raised under Pentecostalism and holiness. My dad's side of the family came from West Virginia. They had one of the biggest churches out there in West Virginia. They moved to Long Island and they set up their church in Long Island, whatever the case may be. So I grew up with my grandmother, my dad's mother, being an evangelist. Then my mom's side of the family, they're from St. Thomas and Virgin Islands. Again, exposed to Christianity that's shared out there. My mother also came into the church, whatever the case may be. So they raised me and grew me in the church under Pentecostalism and holiness, right? So when I was 18, 19, I was still living with my mom, and I didn't want to have nothing to do with that, right? Because it was not enticing to me. A lot of it I didn't understand, so I didn't want nothing to do with it. But I was still living with my mom, and she said, if you're going to live here, you're going to go to church. That was her rule. I didn't have to go every Sunday, but I had to make my way to church. So when me and my brother was about 18, 19 going to church, we started asking critical questions during Sunday school. Because we had to go to church. So we said, all right, let's go to Sunday school. I didn't want to go to service. I go to Sunday school because we can ask questions. So we went there and started asking critical questions for the sake of killing time so we can leave, right? But in the process of that, we were getting educated on things because the person who was teaching us, he wasn't like a puppet for the church. Like he knew a lot of stuff. So he shared a lot of that inside information with us, right? So when I moved out of my mom's house, I didn't want to have nothing to do with church. I wanted to live my life, do whatever I need to do, whatever the case may be. And in 2008, was 2008? 2008, I was watching a documentary called Zeitgeist. Anybody seen that? Yeah. So I was watching Zeitgeist, and while I was watching Zeitgeist, I saw the section on religion. I'm like, oh, what this about? You know what I'm saying? Then I seen the rest of it about the microchip and everything like that. I'm like, man, some of the things they're talking about seem similar for things that I read or scantily remember from being in the church. So I went back to the script, to the Bible, started reading Revelation for the first time, and I see all these things that I could not really interpret. I said, oh, shoot, this is interesting. At that same time, my mom's church, who we was going to, they had a Bible study on Revelation at that same time. They just started. I said, look, let me go there and ask questions. I don't want to do the church thing, but I do have some questions. So I went there, I started asking questions and so forth. And after the end of that series, I was like, yo, I'm going to identify voluntarily as a Christian, because if this stuff is going on, I want to know how to be prepared for it. So I became a conscious Christian, a Christian that identifies with Christ and the basic tenets of Christianity from that denomination, but somebody that's able to see masonry. So, oh, look at masons. Well, they put fluoride in that water. So I was that type of conscious Christian. You know what I'm saying? And so I was doing that for some time. I started a ministry called Perfecting Holiest Ministries in 2009. And the purpose of that ministry was to be helps to other churches. I was interested in setting up Bible studies, setting up classes, little seminaries. So I went through that path. I did all of that to 2012. In 2012, I had a friend of mine, and me and her was on the same journey of Christianity, be conscious Christians. One day she was like, you know what? I don't understand none of this stuff. And she started reading stuff about like church fathers and stuff like that. She didn't understand none of it. And she said to me, none of these people look like us. So I'm gonna start reading this. And I was like, wow, damn, you about to lose your soul because you say these people don't look like us. I guess she was on to something at that time, but she said that to me. So she started getting involved in Kemet, in Egypt, and all things Egypt, from the Black conscious community, had this whole community that had people that was talking about Egypt and praising Egypt and all this other stuff. So she said to me one day, she was like, hey, look, I want you to watch something. I want you to read some stuff. I said, no, I don't want to read none of the stuff that you're doing because that's all demonic and that's going to take you to hell and all of that. That's how I was thinking at that time. She said, nah, just read it, blah, 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 just listen to that. And I'm like, all right. So I prayed about it. I said, you know what, God, let me read this so I can show her this is her end. Like, there's no turning back. You're going to get possessed and all. I mean, this is what I'm thinking is going to happen, right? So I said, all right, let me read it. So I started reading this stuff. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So I started watching people like Bobby Hemmett. How many people know Bobby Hemmett is? Dr. Valentine. You know who that is? Dr. Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yachanan. Started watching all of these pillars in that community. Talk about the Black woman is God, talking about Egypt and all this other stuff. And I'm like, so I was trying to process it. So I started going to the lectures. There's the lectures in New York where I was at. So I go to the lectures and I started meeting all these people in that community, had a conversation with them, everything. And then what I took back from that, I was like, look, you know what? Damn, nothing's telling me to leave the Bible, but I do see white supremacy in Christianity. Because that's how we got it over here. So we saw, no, Christianity was in Africa. Yeah, but that wasn't what we got. That was something so different. That's not how we got it. So then I learned about white supremacy by interfacing with that community because I'd never seen that. It was something that was brand new to, and my eyes just opened up to white supremacy. But I still saw truths in scripture, and I said, man, how can I balance this thing? So what I started to do was look at every community and that conscious community. So you had the Moor Science Temple of America Moors. You ever heard of the Moor Science Temple of America? Anybody? Yeah. You had this sect of Moors. Then you had the offset Moors that talk about Black supremacy by way of saying that they're sovereigns and they're nationals and all of that. Those are not the Moors from the Moor Science of America. Those are separate set of Moors. So I learned from them. Then I went to the Nation of Islam, to their temples, and I started studying with them. Then I learned from them and went to the Kemet, and they had all these temples where they teach us. So I went to all of these thoughts, and I watched everything for months and months. I read literature, and I said, damn, none of this is really what I identify with, because I'm still stuck with the scriptures, right? But then in New York, we have a very avid Hebrew Israelite community. If anybody don't know that. So we see brothers on the corner preaching scripture and all of that. I, as a Christian at that time, when I was a Christian, used to go down there and debate them. I debated Priest Sabah. It's on YouTube. I debated back in 2012. You should look it up. It's funny. So I debated Priest Sabah. I debated Hashar. I debated Priest Anya Allah. Priest Anya Allah. Have a whole video when we debated. Priest Anya Allah. All these people on the corners. And I'm like, yo, I had a distaste for Israelites because I was like, they're too vulgar, too aggressive, and they're saying nobody can get in the kingdom but us, our people. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm taught in Christianity. So then I went back to go re-examine these claims and say, okay, let me parse through all of that exhibitive stuff. Let me get right to the meat of it, right? And they go into the root of it. I realize their premise is that we are the people of the book. How in the world are we the people of the book? So I'm saying to myself, I'm a skeptic, highly critical. I'm like, that can't be true. I don't believe none of that. But I said, you know what? Let me give it a fair chance, like I did all these other groups. So I'm investigating it, and I said, oh shoot. So this piece of evidence, and this piece of evidence, and this piece of evidence, pull all that stuff together and say, you know what? They got it. I may not like to deliberate, they root in speech, but not in knowledge. Apparently, the knowledge is there, and I learned this is why the Most High never separated me from the scripture after learning all of this conscious stuff. And then at that point, I realized I knew the path I was supposed to walk, and that was in 2013. So in 2014, I started this organization, KHM, and I started to develop it progressively over time until it got to the state that where it's at in 2019, 2020, when we started doing chapter launches and stuff like that. So I have one element, you know, my alias is DivineProspect. I created that so I can interface with the conscious community without them knowing my background information, so that I can find a way to pull people into that community, into the truth. So I use an alias as a vehicle to do that. And then that element of me, I do teaching. So I have a background in ancient and recent studies. I have a PhD, all that other stuff, and that area, you know what I'm saying? And then it's this side. This side, King Harbinger Ministries, is the community side, the collective side where we take everybody from, I don't care where you from this camp, you from that congregation, let's get together and find things that equally plague us in the community and how we can create solutions from it, from our cultural paradigm of being Israel. So that's how I got to that point. There's a lot of other nuance in between, but that's pretty much the general summary of where I'm at and what I'm doing. So. I try. It's all y'all. I don't get no credit. I'm usually good out there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it seems like
I was gonna make sure.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Yes.
As far as next steps.
Yes.
Share with me and I know you talk about the structure.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. So what are the next steps for Houston?
All right, so next steps for Houston, and the first thing is for everybody to sign up. Did anybody else need to sign up? Yeah, let's get anybody who came in late, we need y'all to sign up. So once we have everybody signed up, the first thing is we have everybody in a group on an app that you can communicate with everybody in that group on the app. The reason why we have that is because the next step would have to be another session like this with y'all to figure out what are the issues in the community that we perceive we can resolve, and whoever wants to hold a particular position based on their background experience, so that way this could be a real rooted chat. So the first thing is to sign up so you can get correspondence. The second thing, again, there's an onboarding video. I'll send, make sure everybody got that. You do the skills training that we mentioned, the 7 required ones, because you're going to need all of that in order to navigate in an organization, right? So we want to make sure there's a degree of professionalism when we interface with each other and when we interface with anybody outside the organization. So once you have that skills training, you sign up, then it's the $50 whenever you want to start your membership. And then from there, everybody that you see here, look around, everybody that you see here, whoever decides that they want to be a part of this, and there's people who didn't make it today, we'll all have to come together with somebody leading the charge. I know we had Jaden said you're cool with that, so it might be Jaden, we'll discuss that. And what they'll do is they're gonna have these powwows. We can get together and talk about these things. Also share resources. People in here you may not know, may not even have a place to work, they need a job. So some of y'all have the answer. Some people may have issues in their community, don't know what to do. Some of y'all may have the answers to that, right? Some people may want to do something. Some of y'all have the answer to that, but we won't know unless we talk to each other. And we cannot have the divine line against, okay, you subscribe to that, you subscribe to that. And we have a group common cause. From there, we can develop a community so we can start resolving the problem. So first is the administrative stuff, and after that, then it's the meetings. And from there, y'all will take the direction to go to start solving problems with your cultural paradigm. Right? How to gather resources, where's it going to be, who's going to have it, what land we can get. That's your conversation. I'm just there to sign off executively. But whatever y'all do, it's autonomous to this chapter and the needs that Houston has. Yeah. So when you get that video, it'll outline all of that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you know, but
yeah. Okay, you got it.
So my question is, as far as As far as us being able to commune with one another, to
Mhm.
that communication, those lines of communication, is that done through the Harbinger,
The app.
the app
Yeah.
that's done through that? And
Yeah,
then-
so the
I
app is
guess-
done through that because everybody's gonna be part of that group. So you can
Okay.
communicate with anybody that's in the group. So the app will allow it so that you will have those communications. It'll have forum boards if you want to post a topic in regards to probably the group or something in the community that you want to think tank, discuss, and figure out how to fix or resolve, how to move forward with it. Because we have services and programs, you can implement them here in the city. So I don't know if y'all have a homeschooling center here in the city. Does one exist here in the city? They have a birthing center here in the city. Do these exist in the city amongst our community? If they don't exist, these are things that y'all have to think, take, put together and make sure that they're here. So anybody in Houston who identifies as Israelite needs a resource somewhere to go, y'all are it.
Okay. I have another question.
Yeah, you got it.
So my thing is this, because I don't know anybody here. So what if only 3 of us want to do it, but we need information or we have questions that we need to reach out to somebody to the left or to the right. What I mean is outside of Houston, right?
Oh, yeah,
Is
if you want to reach
that-
outside Houston, yeah, definitely.
Is that available within?
Yeah, so you could talk to me or you could talk to my admins. But we have like Javen, I keep mentioning Javen. He's been with us, how many years, brother, you've been with? 5 or something like that.
Okay.
He know the rules.
Okay.
So he gonna be here.
All right.
He made it clear to me that he gonna be involved. He gonna be here. So you don't need to go more outside than him because, I mean, me and him used to talk a lot. I mean, lots of happened lately, like we got busy and stuff. But he knows everything about everything I'm showing.
All right.
I'm surprised he didn't say much, but he knows all of this. Yeah, so in every city we go to, we do have somebody stationed there that is a point of contact that's been rocking with us for 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay.
That I've spoken to personally and I know personally. So y'all have one here. Actually, you have more than one. You actually have 4 of them here.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not going to be alone with this. And if you need to reach out to me or the admins, you can clearly do that, right? The number, I don't know if I didn't put the contact information here, but our phone number is on all our social media platforms. If you go to any YouTube video and you see me in it, in the description, it's all the ways in which you can communicate with us. When you're in the organization, there's going to be an email that everybody can communicate with and communicate to, so you can get whatever information you need. But I understand, people say, hey, you're going to leave us all on devices, tell us it's great. Now what do we do? What if we by ourselves doing it? We're not going to leave you alone. Messiah said, I'm not going to leave you comfortless. I'm not the Messiah, but I'm definitely not going to leave you comfortless. Because that's not the job of a shepherd. If you're going to oversee, you have to have lines of communication to make sure things grow. This has been a learning process for me because I've never done it like this in my life. I think we did like 10 chapters already. 5 of them didn't exist. Some of them do exist. You know why? Because I'm still learning the ropes and everybody does not want to do the work, I realize. They'll be happy to listen to a lecture. Hey, Divine, you going to teach a lesson, go do a lecture? They'll show up. I said, nah, I want to talk about the work. We have maybe 50 people start out with, and we're down to 20, we're down to 10, we're down to 5. Nobody wants to do the work because it's too much work. They didn't come in to do work. I realized that. They just come in here to be like a pew member in the church. You just want to be a part of something, but you're not actually doing nothing. This is going to require you to get busy. If you don't want to get busy, then this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to preach you doctrine. I'm not doing none of that. That's not what this is about. So if you want to do the work, brother, we're going to put things in place so you can get the work done. You're welcome. Anytime, Kevin. Anybody else?
I do have a question. Some things that kind of stuck out is sure. Some of the things that stuck out were the health structure, the charter schools, the Houston political structure, and how to really get to understand. And if I wanted to like learn the ins and the outs, where would I go as it relates to KHM?
So I did videos on all of this stuff. Yeah. So I have a playlist that goes into every detail of those elements. So I have a playlist dealing with health, one dealing with credit repair, one dealing with political involvement, one dealing with organizing, how do we organize in our communities, what are some programs or services we can create and provide to the community. I have a whole playlist of that. So if you're interested in that, I can send it to you before you walk out the door so you have it. And that way you're preempted before you get involved. You have everything you need to say, okay, let me see what this is about. I'm not asking nobody to sign up now. I'm just asking for your contact information. We can give you correspondence. You can leave out at any time. It's not a congregation. I'm not preaching to y'all and telling y'all to stay in the organization. You get what you need here and you move on to wherever you got to go. That's what we're here, right? But if you want the template, everything's been laid out in video format online. Everything's there. Anybody else? No? Okay. All right, cool. What time is it? 9:30? All right, we gotta start packing up and leaving out. But before we do, I have a special guest here, Roy the Chef. If y'all didn't know, he's a double platinum hip hop artist. So speaking of the so what I'm gonna do, matter of fact, let me share this real quick, right? I'm gonna share this real quick. So we're talking about not preaching to the choir and getting out in the highways and byways, right? So I'm in the process of putting together a record label called Divine Light Records, right? And the purpose of this is to get artists in the truth and give them a voice outside of the community so they can go in secular venues to not only perform, not only to be interviewed, not only to push products and merchandise, but so that way they can be shielded from compromise because they have somebody on the back end who is righteous running a record label with their interests at heart. If they were to sign to a Sony or something else, they're gonna make them compromise. They're gonna have to go to the Diddy parties, the post-Diddy parties, the post-Diddy parties, in order for them to get a Breakfast Club interview or for them to pack out Madison Square Garden or something like that. So our goal is to shield them from having to do that. And we take care of all the record label needs for them. So all they gotta do is go out and preach by means of music and reach the lost sheep. So in the process, I'm working with his manager, my brother DB, shout out to DB if you're watching DB, talking about in the back end about communications on who we can reach out to the community and the Israelite community. I met over 15 people who used to be in the music industry. I'm talking about people who are A&Rs, people who are owners of record labels, people who know all the heavy hitters in the different labels and everything like that, who are sitting now with nothing to do with skill or knowledge. Now we got something for them to do. So I'm putting all of them behind the brand so we can put good artists like my brother Roy the Chef, who's part of Repent and Use It. That's what we're going to tell them, repent, repent. My brother Anabiel the Servant, how many of y'all know Anabiel the Servant, right? We have maybe about 6, 7 other artists that we want to put together in the forefront. As I tell them, you got to stop preaching to the choir and start looking for the lost sheep, right? So I want him to give you a little taste of what that's like. If you don't know who Roy the Chef is, he wants me to do a track with him. I'll think about it. Y'all don't know I can rap with this. I'm gonna leave that alone. I've been on the past, you know what I'm saying? Actually, I've written a lot of songs for smaller artists that are pretty well known now. I've done songwriting. If you type my name in, you'll probably see my name in some of the credits. But don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want y'all to know the song that I just write that. But I used to do that, so I know a little bit about the industry because I was an emerging artist in New York City at the underground with a crew that I ran called the Starting Five. We was rapping on all these underground Stretch Armstrong. We used to hit mixtapes up and do all. I don't know if you know where that is, but we used to hit the mixtape, the DJs up. DJ Clue from Queens went over there. We did a track with him and all of that. That was back in the day, and that I had good exposure because the reason why I wasn't successful, true story, is because of that group that we had a producer who was in the industry for some time. And he said to us, he said, hey, yo, you young boys, they got a lot of fire and all that. I said, look, I just want to let you know the music industry is not what you think it is. He's like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, look, you're going to have to make some compromises in this industry. So, you know, he kind of telling us without telling us. My friend up there, oh, yeah, I don't give a, I'm going to do that with it. And I'm saying, well, hold on, let me compromise. You know what I'm saying? I had to think what he's saying. He's like, look, there's going to be some engagements you got to go to, some people you got to meet and stuff like that. He's going to say all that stuff to me. I said, nah, bro, I don't know what that's about. But he had like at least 15 years in the industry at that point. I took the cue. I spoke to him privately, away from everything. He told me about all these different compromises you have to make in the industry. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but I realized I was wicked. That was evil. That was not for me. Even at that age of, what was I, 17 at that time, I knew that was wrong. I didn't want to have nothing to do with that. So I dropped my career like I was 18, 19 years old. I stopped doing that. You know, and y'all took it from me for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I said, look, that's not my ministry. If somebody else's, I want to help them with whatever little bit gems that I have to give to them so they can be successful and bring glory to the Most High. So that's why the chefs.
No,
the chef, I'm gonna Which the one that you mentioned?
You got this.
That's the one that's over there.
There you go.
Oh, well, I just always wanted to stand on behind one of these.
He said, follow your dream.
I feel the power too. Hallelujah. All right, so let's what I'm gonna do is this, right? So first off, man, I appreciate you for having me, bro. It took a long time for us to, link up again, but all praises you made it and saved. And I pray that you make it back home in the same manner, if not even better. But likewise, I appreciate you brothers and sisters coming out to support my brother in the building and the extension of KHM. I'm just a lowly servant that the brother just told me, okay, for me to take up a little bit more of your time. Now, I was going to perform, right? I was just, y'all, got a few minutes for me to explain this, right? I was going to do a song, like a legit record from, that you probably heard of. I probably not have heard, but in this intimate setting, I wanted to change that up a little bit, if that's all right. I mean, y'all want me to just start rapping on so I can do that?
Correct.
I just want to go with the flow, man. Oh, please, man. It's been a while, but I'm gonna get into this one. I actually wrote this one that says October 23rd. So what's it, the 26th?
Yeah, fresh.
This is a piece called Ordinary People. Sometimes I write, that's the story, and then I'm gonna get into it. Sometimes I write records to be an actual song, and then sometimes I write just a thought in a spoken word form. And then if I can turn it into a record, if that's what the Most High pushes me into, then I will. But some of these things I never bring out because it just stays in that spoken word form. So this probably won't be a record. But I'll take up a little bit of your time and just go into this one, right? So the name of this little piece is called it's called Ordinary People, right? So I came on to it. I said, hey, I'm God, it's just me again. I'm still falling, calling you out your seat again. You pulled me out of that water and I've been deep again. Anxiety got me feeling I never sleep again. Got me feeling like the devil keep winning. How I keep sinning, thinking not the level with repentance. Knowing I'm out of line like the letter in a sentence. And I pray you still see me how you did in the beginning when I was just a little jig, new to the truth. Meaning off the milk, I ain't even have a tooth. Believing every law and not in need of the proof. If you give a sin a rope, you probably make a noose. Or a brand new demon, a spirit just to seduce. When one leaves, he coming back with a few. Was a house clean, now we got demons all on the roof. Where Messiah at? Look how much cleaning we got to do. And it's high time, because any minute he coming through. So anytime he can find me in the wrong spirit, I pray when he returns, it's the kingdom I'm going to visit. And sing all the praise, every lyric I'm going to live it. And the same love you gave, I promise that I'm going to give it. Lord, please don't ever take away your Holy Spirit. Lord, please don't ever let me live outside my limits in a false scale, one of the abominable offenses. Still in the beef, didn't die yet. Lost a couple brothers up in the process. Try to make peace before it got bad. But you could never lose what you never had. Sometimes brotherhood, it confounds me. Was brothers really with me or was around me? In prosperity, you'll never know your true brothers. In adversity, they always show their true colors. That's Ordinary People.
That's good. Go ahead, brother.
I had to bring y'all into my. I'm like, up in the cover, brother, like that. That's I'm praying for you. I'm gonna give them more size some praise and then I'm gonna jump down from here, man. All right. So
This last one, let me see. Yeah. Okay, all right. All right, I found it. All right, so I give y'all my last one, and then I'm gonna just remind y'all. How many of y'all follow me on Facebook, Instagram, anything like that? No, not yet. No one? My brother, all praise.
I don't have no social media.
Maybe there's one more.
I don't have no social media.
It's cool. October 30th, this Wednesday, my new record drops. It's called Let Us Pray. Be out this Wednesday. I don't know if y'all be, online, whatnot. I'll do the interview with Deegan and Kyle that Wednesday early in the daytime, and I think I got another one that evening. Long story short, the album coming out this Wednesday. Get a chance to check that out. I just want to say that before I forgot, because I will forget. And I give y'all one more, man, and I'm gonna sit down, leave y'all alone. But this podium, man, I don't know if y'all ever.
It's calling you. It's calling you. Oh man, that's it.
All right, I'll give y'all one more and I'm all done. All right. So I said, what would I be without them? Eyes closed, body closed, mausoleums around them. Roses on the casket right before they lay me down in. It's either that or upstate of federal confinement. That's why I praise him. For every single second that he gave him, I was so amazing. He held me up. I should have caved in when I was getting money, doing numbers out the days that I counted off for that, because that's the reason he saved me. And most men, when they get the winning, they start forgetting you. And when they gone through it, I see how they try and limit you. But you gave me the game like the scrimmage dude. Then you sing your house shine to show me how to move. It was the living proof. But I fall short though. I thank you for your grace and your mercy. You know how my heart goes. Always been there for me, even before the start though. You're the reason why my heart glows. I'm who the Lord chose. And you are too. Thank y'all for your time. Well, all right, brother. I'm so old now. Rhonda, you talking behind this over there?
Nah, I didn't do today.
Man, don't do it.
I got so much of
I'm doing that. Hey.
No practice. That's all I need to hear.
That's my only gift. I don't know if it's my only gift, but it's the main one.
So we're gonna do another.
Maybe we can get it. You know, man, when I tell you this new, we go.
Oh.
What's up, Purple? What on, King? I remember your favorite color. What How you? Good, good, man. Ah!
Sit there and kick it all night. Well, we use a freestyle forever.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
1 second, everybody. We got one announcement before you leave. Somebody leaving out there.
For those of y'all who
Go ahead. You can say that.
so real quick, for everybody watching, We are gonna be having our lovely brother do election tomorrow afternoon. It's gonna be noon, right?
Yeah.
So
Noon.
around noon.
By noon, yep.
2828 Texas Avenue, Texas City, Texas. We're gonna set it off. It's gonna be at our little assembly. It's also gonna be a restaurant, so you ain't gotta worry about food. For those of you who are vegan or vegetarian, let us know. We should have some options for you, but otherwise it's gonna be fried chicken. How we get that?
Yeah.
But for those of y'all who want the address for the election, just get at me.
Yeah.
Or my brother back here.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to you. If you're interested, if you can make it out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Is it okay to live stream it? Okay, so then that's not an excuse not to come. I'm just saying.
It's not gonna be the same.
I'm saying it's not gonna be the same. All right, but yes, but if you can't make it, we understand it'll be live streamed as well. Yep. Hey, before you leave, to continue to mingle, we got about 20 minutes. We're just gonna keep around you. Just continue to mingle.
Yeah.
When I think I knew.
Right now, okay.
I gotta get your phone. Yeah. I wanna know how look at my head. I'm not. Then it comes with a minority. They was not able to get the proceed. 3, 2, 1. It's Berlin 3, 2. You're thinking to me. Yeah. I'm my wife is I'm going to go to another lesson. I'm going to go be. And I thought fine. I gotta go tonight to my campus. Here. And when I stay busy, now I gotta sit it. I learn to like go to my know what I'm saying? But I've been running the business too. They're running the business. I've been so what I was gonna do, you know what I'm saying? So, but now go I still with being out on the street. I've been learning. Like, I ain't gonna go and keep myself. Just say, you see somebody and you stop what you doing. Yeah. Is I wish I could just express those. It's like a block of TV. You know what I'm saying? But it's changed 100%. So this is kind of already in order to the flow of how I already do. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's good. See what I think. Like as far as it works like letters, the law, I've never just been in it, but I already know I got to get through. You know what I'm saying? I heard all that before. So this is kind of my acquisition.
How you doing? I don't know, like, why you been at the church? Where do we meet?
We was in the name of the building. We was in Allen 3.
Oh, man, that's good.
Working overnight. Love that shit too. I love it.
Everybody, real quick, just want to take a quick group photo. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we can do it. Against this wall. Something in distracted against. Yeah, it's a quick photo.
I gotta be in
If anybody wants to let me know, we'll share it with you. Share it.
All right.
Yeah. We need wall. That's not it. You gotta take it.
Smell Oh, I don't give you warm. I don't.